started. Hi, good evening, everyone. We've got a full house. Thank you all for joining us. Before we get started, I want to announce that I recessed the Board of Directors into executive session at 5:00 p.m. this evening to discuss with legal counsel matters related to agency enforcement actions. The session ended at 5:55 p.m. and no official action was taken. So now I call the meeting to order. It is the Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 Peninsula School District Board of Directors meeting. All board members are present. Please note that this is a regular scheduled meeting. It is held to conduct district business. It is open to the public and it is being recorded. So now I'm going to invite our NJROTC unit in to come present the colors. Would everyone please stand for the presentation of the colors and remain standing during the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry colors. Ready, set, order. Colors. Ready, cut. Right, face, forward, march.
You be seated. And I just want to say outstanding job to our award-winning ROTC group. You guys do amazing every time. Okay, the first item on our agenda this evening is to approve our agenda. Is there any discussion prior to the vote? Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Is there a second? It's been moved by Lori and seconded by Chuck to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried and the agenda is approved. Okay, we have some really special and fun recognitions this evening. So we're going to start with the recognition of our Junior Culinary Star winner. So I'm not sure who is here to present for that. But if you can come to the podium. Oh, okay. Yep, go to the podium, please. That way we can get you on the microphone. And our chefs are headed up this way.
How are you guys?
You want to go over?
Come here. We didn't practice this, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
This is all ad lib.
Neither did I.
Hi, I'm Katie Wetland. I am your Aramark representative for Nutrition Services, and we had a culinary contest here in the school district, and we have some of our winners here tonight with you. We did in the elementary school, we had participants from each of the schools that came up to PHS, and some of you, Natalie and
David
and Ashley were our judges for that, and so we have our elementary winner here is London from Purdy Elementary. And then we also did a recipe contest in the secondary levels for donuts. And our winner there is Hannah from Harbor Ridge. And then we also have my chef manager here and our food manager, Erin Knapp and Tracy Roberts. And we have some recipe books for you.
Oh, fun.
Of all the recipes. I know you had asked for that. And
yes.
so we have that. And then we have some certificates for each of the schools that we're going to send to the schools. The frames got lost in the mail, so we'll wait for the frames and send that. So they're here if you'd like to ask them any quick questions or anything about their.
Yeah, if they want to come, maybe if they can come behind the mic so we
You guys
can
want to
hear
come
them.
behind the mic? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, or you can, it comes out, they can hold it if they want to pass it. And I would just love to hear if they kind of talked about what their recipes were and how they came up with the ideas.
So this is London from Purdy.
Yeah, I don't know how I came up with it. I just like thought of like things I like. Yeah, and also well, I thought about like the like salad where like has like I like thought about like putting boiled eggs on my salad.
You had something really special in your recipe that stood out to me. Can you tell us about the eggs you used in your salad?
Well, quail eggs well, I like quail eggs because they're like cute and like small, and I think they taste better than like chicken eggs.
Yeah, and one more question for you, London. Where did those quail eggs come from?
I have some from my house because I have pet quails a lot, like 10. We just like hatched new ones, yeah. So like big, and I got like the other ones. I'm not really sure, but I think like some of my parents got like the other ones that were like store bought or like from online or something.
Yeah, it was fantastic. There was a delicious salad with strawberries and quail eggs. Yeah.
For me, man, that's loud. For me, I mean, all the meals were really good and a lot of presentation. The kids were clearly excited about it. I probably had quail eggs twice in my entire life. And so one of the categories was imagination. So for her to have hard-boiled quail eggs in there was, in my opinion, what Natalie said, I'll put her over the top. So that was really cool using that unique feature. So.
And we're going to be serving it on June 5th. So, 4th at Purdy, 5th at the rest of the district. So, and then Hannah here is from Harbor Ridge, and her recipe was served on her birthday, May 11th. So it went over very well, and so it was a donut recipe. I'll let her explain. Well, we have them here tonight for you. You have snacks in just a minute. You want to give it to Hannah?
I made like a tanghudu. It's a Chinese traditional candy with fruits.
I think there was 25-ish in the secondary.
So I have the
getting to that time of year where we have so much to celebrate, all of our amazing students and the things that they do. I'm just always impressed. Item 4.2, we have a special recognition. So this year we have in our district a student who was recognized as a National Merit Scholar finalist. So Principal Bob Marshall from Gig Harbor High School is up to talk about, maybe I won't say her name, your student. It's not a surprise to her, but to the rest of us, if you want to
Yeah,
share
I hope
about,
it's not a surprise to her, because
No,
we've
not a
definitely
surprise to
worked
her.
together on that. So yeah, I thought I'd talk a little bit about what National
Yes.
Merit Scholarship Program is real quick, so you guys understand like how important and how fantastic this award is. It's not given to all students. Matter of fact, students enter the competition by taking the PSAT NMSQT during their junior year, and the NMSQT stands for the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. And about 1.3 million students nationwide take that each year, but only the highest scoring students in each state qualify as National Merit semifinalists. And that means approximately 16,000 students nationwide are actually named semifinalists. So if you're a semifinalist, but then you become a finalist, it's pretty important. So semifinalists actually must complete a comprehensive application process that includes the transcript, an essay, leadership and activity information, school recommendation. They have to confirm their SAT or ACT scores. So it's not a light thing. I mean, she really had to work hard to put all these things forward. And they also have to demonstrate consistently strong academic performance, high character and integrity, leadership and involvement in school and community activities. And so she moved from that semifinalist to the national finalist, earning her a top academic performer in our country. And so the finalists become eligible for National Merit Scholarships, corporate sponsored scholarship, significant university scholarships and opportunities. It not only reflects her academic excellence, but it also shows her perseverance, her leadership, and long-term commitment to learning. So I am so incredibly proud as the Gig Harbor High School principal to be able to honor Ava Hurley this evening. And so Ava, if you want to come up here, I have clap. I do have a certificate from the National Merit Scholarship Program as a finalist. So there you are. So now that you're up here near a microphone, we'd like to ask you a lot of questions about how you did this all. So I'll let them ask you the question.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hi.
Ava.
Is this something that you endeavored to do? Did you really think this was going to happen when you took the PSAT scores, or?
No, it's really quite rare. So I kind of just took the PSATs and I was like, oh, this will be fun. And then I got my score back. That's my mom. I got my score back and I actually got a perfect score. So I was very, very excited about that. And then I was notified this, I think it was October, that I was a semifinalist. And so then, like Mr. Marshall was telling you, I had to write an essay, complete an application. It was basically like applying for college all over again. And he wrote me a beautiful letter of recommendation, and then that was that. And I've earned a scholarship I'm attending Cal Poly for this award. I was very excited.
That's outstanding. And what are you going to study at Cal Poly?
I'm studying civil engineering. I'm very excited.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I can remember years ago, and this is a little personal story because I'm a senior parent too, so if you'll indulge me, but well, I'm getting emotional too with Mom, but you'll remember we were at a Harbor History Museum event together, and so I still, like, in my mind, you are still a fifth grader at the Harbor History Museum. So, and Caitlin, I think you were there as well, too. So, I mean, I have just had the joy of watching this class of 2026 grow up and work so hard. You guys are some of the hardest working students, the most accomplished young people that we have really experienced. And I am so thrilled that you're getting this national recognition because you have earned it. You have put in so much work, and a perfect score is, I mean, it's amazing. And it's really a testament to not only your work, but hopefully the support of your family and the support of your students, or your teachers and the staff and the schools that you've attended along the way. So, you know, this is just a fun night to celebrate and to kind of look back on your 13 years and be really proud of what you've accomplished. So that is all I have to say, but if anyone else wants to.
Ava, could I ask you, because I know that you do so many things. So can you talk a little bit about what you've done as a high school student? Because I think many people think, well, I just have to be a scholar, right? I just have to be academic. So, because we know that you're well-rounded. So can you talk a little bit about that?
For sure. For my academics, I have taken 14 AP/UW classes in the high school. I love school. Obviously, I want to go study civil engineering. I'm very excited about that. Another huge part of my identity is I'm a swimmer. I swim year-round. I swim for my club and for my high school team. I was the captain this year with our lovely Caitlin Latendrous there. I'm also a STEAM Club scholar, and so I compete at state every year for them, and going to nationals in June here soon. I also am the NHS president, also with Caitlin, and I love volunteering. I most prominently volunteer at Kopachak Middle School, and I help tutor there, and that is something that is super duper special to me. A lot of the kids that I tutor have learning disabilities or just have hard home lives, and so it's really important to me to do that. And yeah, that's kind of been my life.
You gonna do the grad walk at Voyager?
I don't think I signed up for that.
Oh, I'm guessing that you can still do it. Okay. Well, feel like we know a guy.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments from students? Student reps?
I mean, I've known Ava since she was like itty bitty in elementary school, and she's definitely one of the most deserving people of this. She has worked so hard in everything, and I just know she's going to have, oh my gosh.
I know.
She's going to have such an amazing college experience. She really does like bring her characteristics to every challenge that she goes through, and just watching her through high school has been absolutely amazing. As she mentioned, we did like a lot of things together, so I'm so happy for her, and I can't wait to see all that she does.
Awesome.
Love you.
All right. Let's get a picture up here as well.
No, they don't need me. It's all back here. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the part where I'm going to tell families that if they don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you don't have to. So we will not be offended if you get up and leave. Next recognition that we have is for our Seal of Biliteracy students. So we're going to invite James Cantonwine up and principals Bob Marshall and Mike Benoit to speak about the Seal of Biliteracy and the students who've earned that.
All right, good evening. So this is that time of year when we get to talk about Seal of Biliteracy. And just as a quick reminder of the process, students are tested for the Seal of Biliteracy in any language other than English, in reading, writing, speaking, and listening. You have to do all 4 parts of those. And we offer that testing in all languages. So we're committed to, if a student brings skills in a language to us, we're going to find a way to recognize them for that. In the last 5 years, each year we've only tested 8 languages. This year we tested 13. It's typically kind of been from the same set of 12 or so. This is the first time Peninsula has tested in Portuguese in quite a while. But otherwise, some languages, kind of show up here one year and then they're gone the next. Spanish and then Russian are our 2 most frequently tested languages. ASL at the current rate of growth will probably surpass Russian next year. Just we're getting more and more students testing in ASL. As far as credits, we had students, nobody earned only 1 credit this year. Per the state's policy, we give students credit for whatever of those domains, reading, writing, speaking, or listening, they did worst in. So it's really kind of setting a high bar there. For most students, the thing they will kind of struggle in the most will be the writing, but that does vary based on students. 8 students with 2 credits, 20 students earned 3 credits, and 34 students earned 4 credits. That's a pretty significant increase from last year. We only had 20 students qualify for the Seal of Biliteracy last year. That's 212 total credits awarded through proficiency. Many of these students brought these language skills to us. They're multilingual. They're speaking another language at home. But also some of the students are, learning that from, our ASL classes, our Spanish classes. Do we have any of our multilingual or world language teachers here that can be recognized? Hi, Mrs. Rawson. You stand up and wave. All right, thank you. And in terms of actually getting the seal, students have to meet all of the regular graduation requirements. So some of the students who qualified for the seal this year are juniors. You won't see them recognized tonight. They'll be recognized and get their certificate and medal once they've completed the rest of their grad requirements. And they have to qualify for 4 credits via competency testing. So we have 23 students this year, and we'll have Mr. Marshall and Mr. Benoit call up those students, and then we can recognize them.
I'm not sure who's here. I see a few of you, so if I call your name, come on up. And one of the things I've also noticed, James, is it seems like there's more students that actually are native English speakers at home every year, actually picking up a second language, which I think is pretty impressive. So first up is Indy Ballard. Come on up here, Indy. And I just learned recently, because they're typically very, very involved students. So if they're not here tonight, it's probably because they had another commitment. And I just learned a couple of days ago that she was accepted at West Point this year too, as well. So, and her language is Spanish. Ben Casely, is Ben here? Okay, Ben's language is French. Warren Delacruz. Alexander Delator. Well, Warren is Tagalog and Alexander is Spanish. Isabella Figueroa Redell. Come on up, Isabel. Isabel, sorry, not Isabella. Spanish. Paula Johnson Martinez. Jonas Kohler. Paula was Spanish. Jonas Kohler, his second language is German. Audrey McDermott. Nikon Mishkov. Audrey was Spanish. Nikon is in Russian. Wanjiru Nadegwa, Spanish. Asante Perez, Spanish. And Perla Torres Alacantar, also in Spanish. So 12 students earned that from Peninsula High School this year. So thank you guys for coming tonight. You recognize us.
All right, and from Gig Harbor, we have 11 students this evening. We have Atzel Chavez Avalar for Spanish. Atzel here. Okay. Blake Dunyan for Spanish. Ryan Fergus, Spanish. A name we've already heard tonight, Ava Hurley for Spanish. I know she's here. Come on up, Ava. Now, I had to actually stop this student in the hallway today and say, please help me pronounce your name so I say it correctly. So, Nazari, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? So, Kuharchuk. All right, okay, thank you. For Ukrainian, Christopher Lara for Spanish. Caitlin Latendris for Spanish. Jose Puentes Peraza for Spanish. Angelina Slacks for Tagalog. Benjamin White for Spanish. And George Will for Spanish. So come on up.
All right, can we get one more round of applause for the students as they'll come up here for a picture? Yeah, if you want to come up for a picture.
Okay. All right, item 4.4 this evening, we're recognizing our NJROTC again. So is Command Master Chief Stockton here? I'm going to call you up and talk a little bit more about all that your students have accomplished this year.
Amazing. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce the 6th Commanding Officer of the Tide Hawk Company, Cadet Commander Mary Ficca.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Commanding Officer, Mary Ficca of the Tide Hawk Company. Today, our top 5 will be briefing everyone on our company's accomplishments. Do I just press? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Again, I'm the company's Commanding Officer. I receive tasks from our company's instructors where I bring them down to our cadet leadership, and then oversee the whole company. Now I'm going to pass the mic to our executive officer, Ethan Britt.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cadet Lieutenant Commander Ethan Britt, and I am the Tide Hawk Company's executive officer. My role within the company is I oversee operations for our cadets within the platoons or class periods every day, and I also help to aid the commanding officer in any tasks that she passes down to the rest of the company. Next, I'll pass it on to our company chief of staff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaya Ryan. I am a lieutenant commander, and my role in the Tide Hawk Company is I am the chief of staff. I oversee all staff cadet operations, and I assist them in their help, and I guide them. And I also, I also aid our cadet commander in her operations as well. And next, I would like to introduce my deputy chief of staff. He wasn't able to make it today, unfortunately, but he is a lieutenant in the Tide Hawk Company. He assists me in my operations and aids me directly when I need help overseeing staff operations. Next, I'd like to introduce Melina Brooks.
Hi, I'm the Tide Hawk Company's Command Master Chief. My main roles are basically taking a weather check among the unit and making sure everyone's doing okay. And I also help our XO, Ethan Britt, with any jobs that he needs me to do, as well as helping oversee the company and working with everyone to make sure everything is getting done properly.
So within NJROTC, we have several areas in the nation. We are a part of Area 23 that consists of Japan, Guam, Hawaii, Alaska, Oregon, Washington, and Utah. And I am proud to announce that we are the #1 school in our area.
So along with being the top school in our area, another award that our unit has received this year is the Distinguished Unit with Academic Honors, which was awarded to us by our area manager, who oversees the entire geographic area. With this award, it comes with a couple different benefits that we are now allowed to do with being a Distinguished Unit with Academic Honors. Notably, that means that we get 6 nominations to each service academy, not just for all service academies, to every single service academy. That also means that within the nation, we are one of the top, we are a part of the top 20% of units in the nation. And so that's a pretty big accreditation, and our cadets have worked very hard to achieve this.
Oh, annual military inspection. Every year, we host Mr. Vincent Quidishay, our Area 23 manager, and he comes to our unit, looks around, we display some of our talents and everything we learned throughout the year, and he gives us a grade on our performance. It is so important for everyone to participate in our annual military inspection because it is the first time all our new students, our freshmen, can receive recognition for all the hard work and dedication they put in. and get recognized in front of the whole company.
So some things that we do as a unit outside of just your basic regular high school year is we have training camps, leadership academies, and camps for kids to develop their skills before they even join the unit as a freshman. So what they do at these camps is they will work with instructors and other cadets from either Washington or a couple of other states within our area, and they will develop skills of leadership, teamwork, unity, as well as having to figure out how to deal with different people of different groups. And it allows students and cadets to become more competent and figure out how to be productive before they even enter high school, and it sets them up for success. And the best part about this is that it's actually fully sponsored. Cadets never have to worry about whether or not they can go because of cost, because we make it available for everyone.
So some summer training things that we do. We have drill dynamics. This is where we have national coaches come and train our program, where we learn about precision, discipline, and working as one team. We also have new cadet orientation. This is for all new cadets coming into our company, where they learn about their expectations and our company's values and opportunities that they will receive inside of NJROTC.
Now moving on to our field trips that we do throughout the year. So for some of you who do not know, our class is called Navy Science. That is the class that our cadets show up to every single day, and that's a part of their school schedule. Well, field trips are our way of allowing these cadets to not only just do work within the classroom and figure out what the different parts of the military, government, and civics are. These field trips allow them to get out, see what they're learning in the classroom firsthand, and also lets them dive into different career fields that they may have not been able to experience. A couple of the photos you can see here is on the bottom left, we went to a search and rescue squadron up at the Naval Air Station Woodby Island. We've also gotten to go to a working dog center and to a guided missile destroyer. There's also a lot of government and civics field trips that we do. We've gone to the state capitol in Olympia, and it's gotten to let our cadets see what our government on the state side is like, and for them to just get outside experiences, not just in their desks.
Our outside of class programs. So there is a huge difference between NJROTC as a class and NJROTC as a program. The program side of NJROTC helps expose students to programs and teams where we really get to build leadership skills, discipline, and it really helps motivate cadets and give them real good experiences in the company. And it's a great opportunity where we can meet other students from around the world in Area 23 and have friendly competitions and just build these connections within each other. And it is really what helps make us feel motivated and connected to the program as a whole.
So as a part of being in these outside groups, like all of our teams, we actually compete in different competitions, like our NWDRC comps. Basically, what we do there is we gather our teams and we build a community, and we go and participate in these competitions. And one of the best parts that we actually, like a highlight of this year with competing in those competitions, is despite being put into a new division this year, we actually earned the title of division champions, which means that we won the overall thing, first place. And this really reflects the effort and the time that every single cadet in our company has put in to be able to practice all of their different team activities and to be able to reflect the effort that they've put in.
I'd like to go into some of these results. So we had an opportunity to send our marksmanship team. They qualified for the Great Alaska Shootout. And so the top 5 teams in Area 23 fly up to Anchorage, Alaska at Robert Service High School, and they get to a high-level competition that ultimately leads to nationals. And the 10-meter air rifle is actually an Olympic competition. So if you can take your skills far enough, it can actually land you on the United States Olympic team. So this is our third full year of competition, and every year we've continually risen up the ranks. This year we were in the top 5 of our area, and we actually finished overall 4th place. This top team here in the right corner was our Brain Brawl team. The top academic team, Brain Brawl is more of an academic competition where a lot of naval science type questions have come out, and our team ended up taking 1st place. Just this 2 weeks ago, we traveled down to Emory-Riddle Aeronautical University, where every area's top team competed. And they did an outstanding job. They ended up finishing 6th overall. They were one of the contenders to win a national championship. They were right in there to the very end. And so it was just a very impressive overall performance. I don't think there was a more tension-filled environment than that in my 5 years of being here. And then down here on the bottom right was our orienteering team. They had a chance to fly to Alachua, Florida for orienteering nationals. Again, locally, they end up winning their local championship, and they qualified for nationals. And so we were kind of divided and conquering. We were preparing a team to go do drill regionals, and yet taking students to go off and do orienteering nationals. When you have a whole bunch of really competitive teams and high-performance students, they are going out and doing events around the country. So there's 29 other schools in Area 23, and I just want you to understand, out of the 7 competitive categories, 4 of them, the Tidehawks were on the national stage. And last year, we were the Navy National Drill. We got invited to Navy Nationals for drill. So again, time and time again, they have just absolutely performed outstanding on the national stage.
And like Command Master Chief Stockton was stating, we do a lot of other things besides just drill. We have a couple of academic programs and competition teams that we do throughout the school year. To name a few, we have our Brain Brawl team and our National Academic Exam team. Both of those teams qualified for nationals. We had also our Stellar Explorers. They do a lot of stuff with space simulations, and they qualified for their semifinals for nationals. And then we have our Cyber Patriot, which are the cadets who are interested in the cyberspace, cybersecurity, and they qualified for the state rounds. So as you can see, our academics, as far as what we do competitively, matches what we do in drill, and our cadets are allowed and able to compete very well and hold their own throughout the national stage, state stage, and region stage.
Our middle school outreach. This is really when we get an opportunity to go reach out to other students in the middle schools and just have an opportunity to show them our uniforms, say, hey, this is what we're about, this is what we do. Talk to them about all the opportunities our NJROTC program provides and how it can really shape you as a person and set you up for success in life. So, as I said, our middle school outreach, our middle school recruitment trips are really how we connect with students and introduce them into the world of NJROTC.
Military Ball is an event that every cadet looks forward to every year. It's a major event that we use as a unit to create a culture where we celebrate the successes of our year. It also teaches cadets important values of professionalism in a formal space. Because it is a formal dinner event, cadets are able to enjoy a dinner with one another and are able to practice formal etiquette while also being able to celebrate our accomplishments for the year. We're able to greet one another. And in Military Ball specifically, we actually invited other schools to come join us this year. And so we were able to share a dinner with those who we were competing against, and we were able to show camaraderie to them and good sportsmanship and connect with them as well.
So, this year, community service is a big value in NJROTC. Our cadets engaged in a total of 2,900 hours in community service and school support.
So this is all good, but this is not why we're here. We don't come here to win trophies. We don't come here to go to nationals. We don't come here for recognition. We come here for outcomes. And tonight, I'd like to talk about the outcomes of some of our seniors. We got 21 seniors that are going to be graduating, and we have 21 seniors that have either a job, college lined up, or they're going to be connected to the service. So 100% of our graduating seniors have a plan after high school. So tonight, I'd like to recognize some of those cadets who are going to be serving our country. Will Sophia Anderson please come front and center? It just all the cadets, when I call you, just step, just right up front, please. Sophia Anderson's enlisted in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman. Ryan Anderson has accepted the Navy ROTC scholarship to the University of Washington. He's going to be doing engineering. Landon Briggs, he intends to enlist in the National Guard. Is Arlie Heater here? Okay, Arlie Heater is going to be enlisted in the United States Army. Cadence Hobbs, front and center, she is enlisted in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman. Olin Hogberg, front and center. He's enlisted in the National Guard for Special Forces. Hunter Litz, front and center. He's enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, and he has a pathway to the United States Air Force Academy Prep School. Ben Miller, front and center. He is enlisted in the United States Navy as an aviation mechanic. Kyler Moffitt, front and center. He is enlisted in the United States Army as a 91 Bravo mechanic. Peyton Moore, front and center. He is enlisted in the United States Navy as an avionics electrician. Paige Neal, front and center. She is enlisted in the United States Army for Intelligence and intends to attend Army ROTC. Braden Overman, is he here today? Okay. Braden is and has enlisted in the United States Navy as a culinary specialist on board submarines. Jose Puentes Peraza intends to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Paul Ripley, front and center. He intends to enlist in the United States Navy as an electronics technician. Jesse Solomon, front and center. He's going to be attending the United States Air Force ROTC at Oregon State University. Sam Stockton, front and center. He is enlisted in the U.S. Army, 92 Yankee, and he will be doing collegiate ROTC at Pacific Lutheran University. And Isabella Vitorino has enlisted in the United States Army, 68 Whiskey Combat Medic, and she as well will be participating in Army ROTC next year. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our do you guys want to take photos with me, please? Can we form up two ranks, please? Let's form up two ranks. No. All right. Is there any other questions that you may have for us?
Yeah, I'll go first. Isabella, were you the one leading the grog campaign the other night? Is that you? Booyah. Yeah. There's a tradition at the ball and in the military to fine people grog, and so she did an outstanding job at the NJROTC. She had a
Mr. and Mrs. Weiss.
That was an awesome event.
You want to come back?
No. The program in 5 years, it's just become amazing. It's amazing. I look around the room and I see how far they've come. During drill, I told Natalie, I look out there and I see these kids where they were 4 years ago, the seniors, and how awkward they were.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm sorry, but watching the rows and the passing review, and like, okay, come on, you can do it. And I've watched them advance, not only in confidence, but in rank. It's just been so impressive, so impressive. And the diversity of the group. And I think a lot of people think that JROTC, as you said, is just about military, but it's not. It's about confidence and teamwork, camaraderie. It's amazing. I mean, you have kids on the spectrum in there. You got short and tall and thin and little round. And it's just, but I mean, you watch them and they have so much fun. You can tell they love each other. And when we go out on the ships and go on the aircraft cruise or aircraft carry and just to see how proud they are to be in that program. But it's just amazing. And I have to say we have to give a standing ovation to Master Chief Stockton because they're national ranked in almost every category. And this is, you've done this. And so hats off to you, Master Chief. And the last thing I say, you're a cadet lieutenant commander. How long does it take you to put all those medals on, man? It's like hardware. It's like this long. So,
It's a
anyway,
challenge, that's for sure.
Great job, Master Chief.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions? No, I just, I have one question, then a comment. You mentioned you're in league kind of with 28 other programs and you guys are winning all these competitions. We're 5 years old. How old on average are those other programs?
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. So, I mean, that just speaks to the success of this program. And it has been a joy, my joy, to watch you guys grow, as David said, really into just an outstanding group of young people. And it really kind of, we were just saying, it like kind of takes your breath away to see the group of you who have committed to continue service. I have the pleasure in my day job to support military families. And it's really cool for me to see you transition from kids in high school to the adults who belong in those ranks and who will continue to serve. So we are incredibly proud of you. We hope that you will remember where you come from and serve well with integrity and honor and come back to visit us. Keep us informed of where you are and what's going on, and we would love to stay in touch and follow your journey because I know it's going to be great. So congratulations, outstanding program. Thank you for the presentation. And I do want to give our students one more opportunity to ask any questions or make comments before we let you go. Nope. All right. Great. Well done. Thank you, guys. Okay, so that concludes our recognitions for the evening, and now we're rolling on again. Like if you were here for that to recognize your student, it is fine. It is okay to get offended. We will not be offended. It's a school night. And then we're going to transition to our fifth item on the agenda, which is our student representative reports. So at this point, I would like to invite Lauren to tell us what's going on at CTP.
Of course. All right. Hello and good Sorry. Hello and good evening, everyone. Lauren here with the CTP News. First to start off, for our latest Fun Friday event, we did rock climbing at Edgeworks. It was a lot of fun, but a bit scary. Some of the rock walls were pretty high and hard for us to reach the next footing. Thank you for Outdoors for All and Kiwanis for sponsoring this event. Our CTP graduation is coming up on June 16th. It will be at Swiftwater. CTP has 7 students that are going to be graduating this year. Congratulations to... Okay. Sorry. Congratulations to Allison, Connor, Ian, Timothy, Alexi, Alex, and Mark. CTP wishes you all well, and you all be missed next fall, but they will always be in our hearts forever. This Friday, we have our transition barbecue for our new CTP students. We will meet them at Tidlow Park for some hamburgers and hot dogs. We are excited to meet our 12 new CTP students and can't wait to see everyone. I would also like to congratulate our first-year student, Haley, as she accepts a job at Snapology. That's all the news for tonight. It was great to be part of the school board representative. Lauren out.
Good evening. I'm Olivia, the senior representative for Henderson Bay. And Bay on Display was a great success. We had it last Wednesday. We raised nearly $1,000 for various ASB clubs, and it gave the students a chance to showcase their creativity and hard work to the community. As we approach the end of the school year, our seniors are busy preparing for graduation and making sure they have everything completed for this exciting milestone. We have Salon Day coming up this next Monday, I think, where students from West Sound Tech Cosmetology program will visit Henderson Bay and give students makeovers. This is always fun and uplifting event that students look forward to each year. In addition, a group of our students are traveling to Gig Harbor to participate in the mock crash event. This is an important experience that helps raise awareness about safe decision making on prom night. And our prom pop-up is currently underway. Students are really enjoying the opportunity to browse dresses and suits. It's one of my favorite projects because it helps make prom accessible and exciting for everyone. That's it.
Is this thing on? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kainoa. I'm the junior representative Peninsula. I'm responsible for going over, giving reports on all the feeder schools, so elementary and middle schools on the Peninsula side of the district. So first, I'm going to start with Minter. Minter had their annual Move with Minter challenge that wrapped up on May 13th, which nearly 70% of students completed it. Basically, it was students were required to be physically active for at least 30 minutes per day outside of school for at least 10 days in a 2-week period. Everyone who completed the challenge celebrated with a special snack along with KPFD staff during recess. Every grade at Minter has at least one major event and or field trip coming up in the next 3 weeks, which include Camp Seymour, the Harbor History Museum, Pierce County Library, State Fair Farm, Pierce College Planetarium, and many more. They're also planning for special year-end events, including welcoming kinder parents on June 8th, the PHS Grad Walk on June 11th, 5th grade moving on ceremony on June 16th, and a field day on June 17th. It has been a great year at Minter with lots to celebrate. Next, we have Purdy Elementary. Currently, it is the month of responsibility at Purdy. They recently had their Civil War camp reenactment for second graders studying the Civil War in their new CKLA curriculum. Miss Barr visited and had lunch with one of the third graders, Anna. They also celebrated their school-wide attendance with an extra school-wide recess, or they have that coming up in 2 weeks. The whole school average was over 95%, and we'll be celebrating a second all-school recess on May 28th at the end of the month. Next, for Evergreen, on April 30th, the second and third grade students performed the music program production of The Principal and the Pea, which was a huge success. On May 4th, the week of May 4th, the school celebrated teachers during the Teacher Appreciation Week with breakfast treats, Cinco de Mayo salad bar, PTA Snack Shack, snacky treats, and gift cards. On the 13th, the school rolled out the new Bus Right Safety Pass program, and the Tacoma Nature Center visited the transitional kindergarten class on May 14th. Now, at Vaughn, their kindergarten students had the opportunity to go on a field trip to the zoo on last Friday. Even though it was a little rainy, the students still had a great time and enjoying the zoo. As they head toward the end of the school year, there are a lot of events coming up, including more field trips, assemblies, and field day activities, and it's been a very busy and exciting time at their school. Last is Swiftwater. The kindergarten and 5th grade concert was on April 30th, which was a huge hit. They had their belonging assembly earlier in this month where students appreciated teachers with a teacher trivia game and welcome a visit from next year's new principal, Miss Ramel. I don't know forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Ramelli, sorry. And lastly, there are their kindergarten jamboree on May 12th with parent welcoming sessions and student visiting classrooms. So now I'm going to pass it off to my senior representative who will cover Peninsula.
Hi, I'm Kate Cardinal, and I'm the senior representative from Peninsula, and I'll be giving a report on some things that we've been doing and upcoming from Peninsula. So a lot of stuff is wrapping up now that we're getting close to the end of the year. Our theater department put on their annual spring musical, which was Legally Blonde, and everything everyone has said about it has been amazing. It went extremely well. I know it just was amazing for their program. Our band and choir also went to state for solo and ensemble. We had our ASB elections for next year, and we had so many applicants and people running for office this year. So it was really successful way to end April. We celebrated our teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week, and each day we had our leadership students present something to our teachers just to show how much we appreciate them. We had our annual arts assembly. This was our second year doing it. A great way to celebrate performing and visual arts at our school. So we had band, choir, and NJROTC perform. I'm assuming this is going to become an annual tradition just because how well it's gone the last 2 years. We are also finishing our spring sports. So we've had a lot of state qualifiers. Our baseball and softball state are this weekend. McKenna Bauchter qualified individually for girls tennis, and our track team is competing in districts this week and hopefully sending kids to state next week. Today was our last day finally of state testing and block schedule, and I think most of our students are really excited about that. And it's also auto safety week, so this Friday our seniors will be heading to Gig Harbor for the mock crash. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Latendris. I'm the senior rep from Gig Harbor High School. So at Gig Harbor High School right now, we're really just kind of finishing out the school year. We're getting everything done. So everyone just finished up our 2-week AP testing period on Friday. So a huge congrats to everyone. We had a lot of students doing that, and it is definitely a lot of work for them. So it was great to see all of their dedication to their classes this year. And then our juniors also just completed their state science testing. So just like Peninsula, we are done with state testing for the year. Recently, for Teacher Appreciation Week, we were also able to celebrate our Gig Harbor High School teachers. Our leadership had a really cool program where they interviewed a bunch of students around the school, and we got to see who their favorite teachers were and some reasons why these teachers really make our community at the school special. And then our amazing spring musical, Into the Woods, just finished up their last performances this weekend. A huge congrats to our Gig Harbor High School theater program for an amazing show. And then coming up on Friday, we're going to be hosting the annual mock crash for 2026. I know there's been a lot of planning and hard work that's gone into this. It's really going to be an amazing and just powerful event, especially this time of year right before prom. So we are super excited for all of that. And we really want to extend a sincere thank you to all the people who helped put it together and for their hard work and dedication to our students of the district. This past Tuesday, we were also able to have our Gig Harbor High School Tide Scholarship Foundation Award Night. We had over 100 different scholarships awarded, and a lot of these had multiple recipients, so it was really just amazing to see all of these students kind of awarded for their hard work throughout high school. We are so grateful for the community and the Tide Scholarship Foundation for making this possible. It was really incredible to see how this was able to make a difference in these students' lives. And then our spring sports are entering postseason. We had so many amazing district champions over the weekend. We are having a spring sports update, so I'm not going to share about that, but I did want to extend a congrats to all of our student athletes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Sophia Fenn, the junior rep of Gig Harbor High School. I'm going to be talking about the feeder schools. So first off, Goodman Middle School. So they have a successful track and field season right now with nearly 220 participants. They only have 2 weeks left, and they're all super excited about it. Students have been trying new things and developing friendships as a community. And shout out to the 8 coaches who made the whole process possible, because as my brother who's on the team, I know how chaotic that track team is. Students work hard during the recent ELA Math Smarter Balance assessments. Goodman is excited to celebrate their accomplishments, and their 8th graders are getting ready to start the science assessment this week. They're taking it tomorrow. So Goodman is also excited about their end-of-year events. They have a lot of them, and end-of-year events are about celebrating their hard work, accomplishments, and their connections with their community. So they have their ASB Social, which I believe is a beach party theme. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it is. And then Goodman Cares Field Day Variety Show. Also, they have a talent show coming up. And a number of musical performances. They have a choir concert on Tuesday, June 10th at 6:30 p.m. and then a band concert Thursday, June 12th at 6:30 p.m. So yeah, and then moving on to Kopachuck Middle School. So their track is up and running right now. 150 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have joined track this year at Kopachuck. So there's a lot of track kids this year. Yeah, they will be having their moving ceremony and field day on June 18th to celebrate the 8th graders entering freshman year. So congrats all of our 8th graders. They are also currently putting on a food drive to support Food Backpack for Kids, and it's also a competition between the classes. They are sending a second group to JA BizTown in Kent, where they will continue to learn about financial literacy, work readiness, and etc. And then lastly, their band will be performing in the Maritime Day Parade on June 6th. And then Artendale Elementary, they have their 43rd annual Otter Fun Run. It's coming up on Friday, May 29th at 6 p.m. So if you want to have a fun run, go for it. It's 3rd through 5th grade instrument show will be on Tuesday, June 2nd. At 5 p.m. And then lastly, they have their career day on Monday, June 8th. And then Discovery Elementary only have one update for them, but they have a color run fundraiser throughout May. And then they have their actual color run on May 29th at 2 p.m. So lots of running this month. Yeah.
And then really quick, so Kate and I and Olivia, we all need reps from our school. As you know, a bunch of us are seniors and we're going to be moving on. So we also did want to announce, if you know anyone who would love to have one of these positions and who really cares about this community, we are definitely looking for applications. Reach out. Those applications are available through all of the schools. And we are definitely excited to get a new round of people here with new perspectives and just to give new opportunities to our kids.
Sure that the words fun and run belong together, but it's like to each his own. Okay, that's what it's all about. So towards the end of the year, it just ramps up. You guys are so busy. It's amazing you have time to go to school. But yeah, well done. Lori has a question.
Just real quick, what do you know what time the mock crash is on Friday at Gig Harbor?
I know our bus leaves at 9.
Okay.
I believe so.
I think the event itself is
Is it?
9:30 to noon.
Okay, thanks.
So we're gonna have like schools arriving at the start of that. And
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is our comments from the public. And as you know, we have condensed these into one public comment period. These are on agenda and non-agenda items. So speakers will have 3 minutes. So when I call your name, please come to the podium. There will be a timer on the screen here so that you can kind of keep track. We have a lot of speakers tonight, so 3 minutes, I will be cutting you off. So if you don't finish in time, you can submit the rest of your comments by email. And I will just go down the list here. So first up, we have John, is it Fika?
Thank you. Is this on? Okay.
It is.
All right. Hello, my name is John Ficca, and I wanted to take a moment to express my strong support for the district's NJROTC program. Both of my children have participated, and the experience has been truly phenomenal. My son was a senior at Gig Harbor High School during the program's first year, and my daughter will be entering her fourth and final year this coming school year. Much of her success and engagement in high school can be directly tied to her passion for this program. Over the years, I've seen firsthand the positive impact NJROTC has had on so many students in our community. The program provides incredible opportunities in leadership development, teamwork, physical fitness, discipline, and academic achievement, just as you saw earlier. So I've been very impressed by the number of students who have gone on to major universities and the amount of scholarship support students have earned since this program began. So thank you for your support for the program. I would like to take just a moment to bring to your attention just a couple of concerns that I have and respectfully ask the board to address some of these. These are things that I think can easily, you can provide additional support to the unit on. And so first, I just ask that the district provide additional education and training for the middle school and high school counselors, as well as the administrative staff. Specifically regarding NJROTC and the opportunities it provides. You saw all of the opportunities here tonight, and we really need to spread the word throughout the schools as to how much additional, beyond just the classroom work, that these students have the opportunity to take advantage of. So my daughter was unfortunately incorrectly advised by one of her counselors at the Gig Harbor High School that continuing in JROTC would take her off the track for attending a major university, and that specifically advised that the program was primarily suited only for students pursuing trade school, junior college, or military enlistment. Unfortunately, I've learned that this was not just a simple, isolated incident. I've spoken to many families who have shared similar experiences from advisors at both the middle and the high schools. Given the number of students reporting this type of guidance, I worry about how many students have been discouraged from participating. It is critical that our school staff understand the strong academic outcomes.
Mr. Ficca, unfortunately,
Yes.
that's your time.
No
But
problem.
Please
Thank
send
you.
that in an email.
Thank you for your time.
And next we have Chris Doherty.
Hi, good evening. My name is Chris Doherty, and I'm the parent of 2 students in PSD. I had the opportunity to attend the Circle of Friends community discussion at KPMS in April. I spent a Saturday morning and early afternoon reconnecting with PSD high school students and hearing directly from them what impacts them the most in their school day, as well as their expectations with school admin and district leadership. I was surprised that all of these students felt their voices were not being heard, and this didn't only pertain to the racism issues and LGBTQ hate speech in their schools, but also to the non-existent recognition from PSD for the numerous achievements that the band, art, and theater programs have obtained over the years. While it is great to see the district celebrate student athletes through the PSD playbook, it also highlights a noticeable gap in how we recognize our students. Our band, art, and theater programs put in long hours before and after school and have some incredible achievements, yet they don't receive a fraction of the same district-wide spotlight. If a student isn't involved in sports or NJROTC, it shouldn't feel like their accomplishments are invisible to the district. We need to see that same level of playbook recognition and district pride extended to our music, art, and theater programs. The accomplishments sports and NJROTC programs have achieved are noteworthy. As the former battalion commander of my high school Army JROTC unit, and also the first chair violin of my high school symphony, I know the hard work that is needed to obtain these goals. Our PHS marching band has placed first in several marching band competitions. Our high school concert bands and wind symphonies have earned numerous accolades in Columbia throughout the years, while also sending countless musicians to compete at state. This journey starts at the elementary level, where educators ignite the spark. Middle school teachers turn that spark into a fire, and high school teachers turn that fire into a lifelong passion. Yet the district is eliminating music and art programs in our elementary schools across the district. We've all seen and read the data on how music and arts impacts the students' education. Not to mention, music, art, and theater programs are some of the most inclusive programs offered to students who do not fit the mold. It is a safe space where these students can flourish without social pressures. PSD has some of the most talented music teachers who should be recognized on a regular basis. I wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Kale at KPMS and Mrs. Hilborn at PHS for fostering the love of music in both of my kids, allowing them to excel musically and academically. Both of these educators are deeply devoted to their programs and students, and anyone who knows them sees firsthand the immense amount of personal time that they sacrifice to support our kids. We invest academically with our students. Let's not forget to invest in them artistically. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Riley Maury, or is it Money? Maury, okay. That was right the first time. Thank you. Riley.
Okay. Hi, my name is Riley Maury. I'm a senior at Peninsula High School, and I've been a part of AVID since 8th grade.
I'm here today because AVID has played a major role in shaping who I am, and I'm concerned about its stability in the coming years. Sorry. Earlier this year, my senior AVID class was combined with another, creating a total of 36 students. That's not what AVID is supposed to look like, and it takes away one of the most important and impactful things that makes it so good. AVID isn't just a class, it's a family of students who in many cases weren't supposed to make it this far. We are first-generation students, working students, leaders, artists, and athletes. AVID brings us together and gives us support that we need to succeed. What you might not know about AVID is that it didn't just support me academically, it saved my life. As a first-generation student from a household affected by substance addiction, I didn't see a future for myself. Before AVID, I didn't understand the importance of fighting for what you love, but AVID gave me that purpose and that drive. A while ago, our superintendent, Ms. Barr, came into my class of mine to talk about the values of our district and what we want to see improve. When an AVID peer of mine talked about the program security pertaining to AVID, Ms. Barr Schultz stepped out of the room. When she came back in, I raised my hand. I stated that I wanted to see more security within our programs, particularly AVID. I talked about how I want, as an AVID senior, how our class has been displaced from our original cohort teacher, and we've ended each year not knowing if the class was even going to be a thing the next year. I then reinstated that I felt like we needed more security, that programs were staying, and we know that things we care about are safe. Ms. Barr then replied, "So you want more security in the scheduling of programs." It is with this my fears of AVID becoming overlooked and not seen became true. We are here today fighting for what we love. We have seen this program get jeopardized, our class get jeopardized a multitude of times. We are a cohort whose original AVID teachers no longer have a place at the program at their schools. A program that saved us in all of our time of need is now no longer available to the kids who need it most. I love this program more than anything. I owe my life to this program. I just committed to Central to become a teacher, and I want to teach this program. And my class has lived in fear of not being able to return to our family our entire high school careers. And now that we near graduation, that truth is more real than ever. I really want a better future for this program. I want kids who need support, who need a path, who need saving, like I did, to be able to have this resource. By combining AVID classes, by limiting our funding, you are limiting your students' futures. So please listen to us, listen to your community, and continue to fully support the program that has saved so many people's lives. Thank you.
And before we move on, I just want to say a lot of people that are speaking for the first time. So when you make public comment, it is kind of a one-way conversation. So we take the information, and then someone from the district will follow up with anything that it will be kind of delegated out through a school for some follow-up information. But the board just does not respond to public comment. Next, we have Dory Mosich. Okay, thanks.
Great coordinating time to attend. My name's Dory Mosich. I'm retired staff from the community, and I'm here as a concerned taxpayer member, and I have several concerns. And I want to go on record with these. My concerns first is the release of the students for the LifeWise program. And I know that's been conversation, but I want to make sure that I'm being heard. I'm concerned about students that are being dropped off, transported, all of the people involved that are not vetted by the school district. As a retired teacher, I had to be vetted. Everybody had to know our background, and I'm concerned about kids. I'm concerned about Christian nationalism slipping into the school. That concerns me greatly. And I am a person for inclusion, and seeing all of these wonderful programs that were so inclusive. I see how exclusive these programs, the ones that are sneaking into the district. And I understand there's laws and things, and everyone's on the edge, but I just need to voice that. I also am concerned about what the vetting process is for any of the people that are involved in the off-campus programs. It's not going to be a problem until it's a problem. A lawsuit won't be a lawsuit until we get sued. And I'm a taxpayer and a community member and a grandparent and a parent. Both my kids graduated Gig Harbor. And I want to know also the lunch program, even though it doesn't seem to be involved in taking people from an academic setting, I realize that it's very distracting. As a special ed teacher, my kids were distracted. I was the one that had to make sure we were paid attention, involvement in community, involvement up at West Sound Tech, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to make sure that kids had the best opportunity, and they needed to be focused at school where the educators who are trained can deal with it. I've also voiced my concerns with my local representatives, because I know that's an avenue that we've been given and I just want to be able to state my needs. So, and my needs are to make sure that the district remains inclusive, all these wonderful programs remain an option, and there is no exclusivity. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, next we have Lynn Stone Street.
In my notes here. So I'm Lynn Stone Street, and like Dory, I'm a retired staff from Peninsula School District. I'm also a graduate from Peninsula School District, and a mother of graduates from Peninsula School District, and now a grandma of 6 kids in Peninsula School District. And I also am very concerned about Lifeways coming into the school district and taking kids out. And sitting through a school board meeting like this and hearing about all our wonderful programs and how they're just woven into the fabric of our school district, it feels great. It just feels so great to have so many different programs for people. But one that pulls kids out separately and excludes the others just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel inclusive. And I understand your constraints with RTRI, and doing a little bit more of a deep dive into RTRI, I realized that it was a SCOTUS decision back in 1952 that certainly needs to be challenged at this point in time, because I'm sure at that point in time they didn't see the seepage of Christian nationalism into our public school system, but here it comes. And I think if you look at other school districts around the nation, especially some in the state of Ohio, which is where Lifewise started, they have been able to reject the Lifewise program coming in. Now, they have more experience with it because they've been dealing with it longer and it's new to us. But Virginia, I mean, it's easily, I don't know, Googleable, is that a word? Chat-GTable. But there are a number of school districts that have been able to bow out. And now that hasn't gone before a court, but it's worked. And I know we're looking at what's happening in Everett right now, and it doesn't look positive for the school district, but that was given restraints that the district was trying to put forth, is what I understand anyway. I'm trying to read what I can, but I certainly have concerns about this happening in our district. So thank you.
And next is Jessica Gordon.
Hi, my name is Jessica Gordon, and I'm here as the parent of a 2nd grader here at Swiftwater Elementary. I'm also very concerned about Christian nationalism coming into our public schools. I know many of our concerns you have heard, but I just have some follow-up questions for you. You mentioned at the past study session that the Lifewise bus had been asked to stop loitering on school property by our principal, Mr. Brooks. I was at school on Wednesday, and I witnessed them loiter for over 10 minutes in our parking lot. They parked the back of the parking lot. They loitered. They watched our students play at recess for over 10 minutes, and that is very uncomfortable. I know that even parents are not allowed to loiter on school property, but these unvetted adults were sitting there watching our children. This is a serious safety issue and a blatant disrespect for the district, and I'd like to know what safety issues we will take to address this concern. 2, our students are being removed and returned by this organization. I've noticed that at times when the office is overworked, the students have not been signed back in by the Lifewise staff. They've been dropped off, but they haven't been signed back in at the kiosks. And this is a big concern for misplacing students. We know that Lifewise has a history of losing students and blaming the school district, so that's setting us up for a lawsuit. We need to make sure that there is clear expectations for Lifewise to enter and use our kiosks, and so that we know exactly when these students left and when they were returned. Finally, at our study session, the board offered to set up a meeting with your lawyers and our state representatives so that we could come to a clearer understanding of what our choices are here. and I'd like to know if we have a date planned for that meeting or if we've made any traction. I know it takes a lot of back and forth to get things set up. My concerns as a parent are continuing to grow. I'd like to have some concrete responses on how the board plans to keep all of our students safe at school. Thank you.
Next is Brianne Harlan.
Hi, I'm Brianne Harlan, and I have a child at Kopachuk in 6th grade who is in a mental health crisis right now. And I feel that homework and the amount of schoolwork has a lot to do with it. So I'm going to read what I wrote about why I believe that we shouldn't be giving our children homework. After spending nearly 7 hours a day at school, students are expected to go home and continue doing more schoolwork. Imagine if adults worked a full day at their job and then their boss handed them extra work every night without extra pay or rest. Most adults would think that is unfair. Kids deserve balance too. These kids also are still growing and going through hormone changes. And if we're not doing that as adults, why are we expecting the growing children to? Homework also has a serious impact on mental health. Many students already feel overwhelmed by tests, grades, sports, bullying, family responsibilities, and social pressure. Adding homework every night increases stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. Teen mental health issues are rising rapidly, especially in our town, with the rise of teen suicides and more students reporting depression, burnout, and lack of sleep than ever before. School should help students grow, not push them to the point of emotional exhaustion. It is so important that kids have time to form strong connections with family and friends so they have trusted people to reach out to for help if they are struggling mentally, but the amount of schoolwork at home leaves them little time for these connections. Homework can also be especially difficult for neurodivergent students like mine, including kids with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, or other learning differences. These students may need more time, more support, or different learning methods. After focusing all day at school, continuing assignments at home can feel impossible. And a lot of these kids need that time at home to finish the assignments that they were not able to finish at school. So homework on top of that makes them feel like they're fighting a battle they can't win. Family time, hobbies, exercise, and rest are also important for healthy development. Kids need time to recharge, explore interests, and simply be children. Studies show that too much homework does not necessarily improve learning, especially in younger students. Instead of assigning homework, schools should focus on making classroom learning more effective and giving students time to live balanced, healthy lives. I also I thought I only had 2 minutes, so I'm going to add that my child started at middle school this year, and I have seen, even in the summer, they have still this, bright light about them that have slowly seen extinguished this year since being in middle school, and it breaks my heart. And I really see that it is from being overworked. They do have ADHD, and they need that time at home to get caught up on things, and they're failing. And I got a call from this counselor that they're researching suicide hotlines, and I see the depression when they're sitting there at the table after a long day of school doing homework till bedtime every day. And it has to stop. That's the one thing we can control in our kids' mental health issues in the spectrum. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next is, okay, you're testing me on this one. Is it Shervin?
Good evening. My name is Jen Shervin, and I'm a parent here at PSD. My child attends Swiftwater Elementary, and I serve on the Swiftwater VPO board. I grew up drawing, painting, and building, learning that I had something to offer that was original to the world. Art shaped who I became. I work in the retail technology industry, and I watch every single day as artificial intelligence absorbs tasks that used to require human judgment, human creativity, and human taste. I'm not afraid of that technology, but I am paying very close attention to what it is replacing and what we must protect. I'm standing here tonight because I genuinely am scared for what we are taking away from this next generation at the exact wrong moment in history. Now, many of us in this room know Peninsula Hands-On Art. We've volunteered for it. I myself have volunteered for it, and our kids have loved it. I have deep gratitude for every parent who has shown up for supplies and enthusiasm to guide a project. But I also need to be honest about what hands-on art is and what it isn't. It's recipe art. It's parents, volunteers, follow instructions that are structured and lead kids through a defined project with specific tools and materials. That is valuable, that is community, and that is love. But what it is not and what it was never designed to be is a replacement as a trained art specialist. A specialist watches a child struggle with a concept and knows how to redirect them. A specialist teaches the vocabulary of visual art and the principles of design, and the history of human expression across cultures. A specialist sees a quiet kid light up over clay and nurtures that. And a parent volunteer, no matter how wonderful, is there for one afternoon and moving on. These two things existed together in our schools for a reason, because they do different things. That distinction matters enormously right now, because in a world where AI can execute any recipe instantly, generate any image, and follow any instruction, produce any output on demand, and what our children desperately need is not more recipe following. They need someone who can teach them how to think like an artist, to problem solve, to develop an original voice. That requires a specialist, and no levy-funded budget line should make that impossible. Beyond academics and in a world that can be hard to navigate, art provides students with something irreplaceable, an emotional outlet, a place to process complex feelings, reduce stress, and build resilience in a safe and supportive environment. And when words are difficult, and for so many of our kids they are, creativity offers an avenue for expression, self-regulation, and mental well-being that nothing else in the school day provides. We are not just cutting a class, we are closing a door that for some children is the only one open. Our community voted for this levy, nearly 60% of us, because we were promised arts and music would be protected. That promise is being broken 3 months later, and while the world outside these walls is already doing enough to threaten our children's creative futures, I'm asking this board to reverse this decision, to provide full transparency on how levy arts funds are being allocated, and to include this community in any conversation before further cuts are made. Our kids are watching what we do here tonight, and let's show them that their creativity matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jackie Pinkerton.
All right, good evening. I'm Jackie Pinkerton. I'm a parent at Discovery Elementary. I'm here today to ask the district's leaders to be more visible and transparent in executing our mission and our values. Our published materials say that our district aspires to inspire and empower every child every day, and that we nurture a culture that fosters a true sense of belonging. It's not enough to have these words on our website or embedded in notifications through Parent Square. We must follow through with actions. This means that when we hear something racist, it's not ignored. For example, don't allow the inclusive statement of Black Lives Matter to be co-opted by someone obtusely declaring that they want a White Lives Matter representation. If someone shares literature with you that suggests that being LGBT is a mental illness, then assert that that literature is not in alignment with our district, and we don't accept it. When a group or club operating in our district space tries to equivocate their desire to exclude and discriminate trans people with trans people's right to exist, then lean into our non-discrimination policy, and within your authority, please do not let them operate in our spaces. Be prepared as we celebrate Pride next month, that there are going to be people that will say things that are harmful to the LGBT community and have a statement that affirms that we support our students regardless of sexual orientation, including gender expression or identity, and their authentic selves are welcome in our schools. My experience in this district, both in my child's school and my interactions with leaders in this room, is that we have a pervasive lack of psychological safety. People don't feel safe showing up, asking questions, or calling for accountability. We've seen a great turnout tonight, but this isn't normal, and there's a lot of people who would speak up who still don't feel safe doing so. I understand that from April's study session, this district, with David Olson's leadership, has implemented a policy that addresses harassment, intimidation, and bullying. But despite these efforts, we've had 4 children die by suicide this year. Our school district is one of the largest employers in our community with the most direct impact on our children and our families. And we need to do better as a community, and we need you guys to do better as leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Crystal Wysowski.
Hello, my name is Crystal Wysowski, and I am a Gig Harbor resident and a Swiftwater parent to 2 amazing kids. I'm sure it's no surprise that I'm here to voice my objection to LifeWise operating in our district. While I do not agree with the divisive nature of the program as a whole, I'd like to speak tonight to 2 very specific aspects. The first being the disruption to the very detailed plan for the day educators have put in place. I'd like to do that by sharing something about my daughter. My daughter has a medical reason to be pulled from her regular schedule once a week, and I have seen the impact of that. While I am so grateful for the privilege living in this district has given us in addressing this need, it was not without cost. I have seen the academic and social cost of having the pre-planned flow of the day interrupted routinely. The children in the LifeWise program are being exposed to that cost with no real reason for it. That breaks my heart for them and angers me for the staff that works so hard to give all our kids their best shot at excelling. Secondly, the cost is not being explained to the parents because of how it is presented, as well as the minimal response from the district. I'd like to make it clear that some parents in the LifeWise program do feel this is a school program. I recently had a parent at our school who thought we should be including LifeWise in the yearbook. When I explained that it is not a school program and not part of the school district, she pushed back. It happens during the school day, she responded. I explained it was just like me giving a friend approval to take my kid to an appointment. It happens every week, she responded. Separation of church and state, I said. Verbal shrug on her part. Parents see a school bus on school grounds with a weekly schedule, and they feel safe that the district would not let it happen if they weren't okay with it. That is not going to fizzle out. We have kids currently enrolled with families that have personal connections to LifeWise here at Swiftwater. They're not going to just stop going. This is not a wait and see whatever it does situation. This needs to be addressed now. We are being bombarded with so much information on a daily basis. Parents are easily missing things. Even the ones with all the checklists and calendars, things are still missed. The information needs to be very clear and concise. I'm requesting a Parent Square message to be sent out to all families confirming that this is not a PSD program. It is a personal choice made by some families, and that legalities of the group being active here are being reviewed by the district lawyers. This current response from the school board is proving to be as good as an endorsement. Lastly, I'd like to point out that all these voices are here tonight because we care. We care and will stand with you if you stand against them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Debbie Ruggles.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to all the speakers who have come forward. My name is Debbie Ruggles, and I recently retired last year and moved into the area that I used to live in. This is a place that's very special to me. I have no children. I have nieces, I have other family members, and I have friends who do have children. And I want to be really clear for the speakers who have stepped up and to all of you that I am very concerned with things that have been taking place related to LifeWise. LifeWise is not the only organization that is out there. There are others that are entering into other spaces that are questionable. Parents have a right to allow their children to go to a program that's off campus. When somebody told me that the LifeWise bus was actually on campus, that is causing great concern about what the law says. Those programs are to be off campus. As leadership here, as leaders in the Swiftwater school, that is a breach of what the law says. That is not separation of church and state. And we have many, many instances, not only within Gig Harbor or Pierce County, but all across this country. I'm not here to debate whether people have the right to practice the religion that they choose to practice. But if there is a LifeWise bus, and I thought they were parked off-site. I drove by when somebody said that they were parked in the campus, and they were. That's a problem, and just opens it up to all of you, to the district, which again could take money away from many of these wonderful programs and the kinds of curriculum that you're trying to ensure students have access to. There are other opportunities. So please, please work very diligently, not only with the lawyers for the school district, not only with the leadership of your schools, but with your community, with your students, and take a look at what is necessary for a well-rounded education.
that is the role of this district. Religious education and access to programs like LifeWise is not the responsibility of this school district. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And next we have Vivian Sweet. Vivian Sweet. Okay. Sarah Garriott.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sarah Garriott, and you should all have before you an AI policy from a school board model policy that I'm hoping. 6 months ago, I came here and hoped and told you some ideas I had about how we can improve AI policy in this school, and I hope that you will take that into consideration. That being said, I will talk a little bit more about that, but I want to address some of this LifeWise issue that's come up here this night. I'm also the chapter chair, as you know, of Moms for Liberty, Pierce County. And for nearly a year now, there's been a lot of local fuss and dishonest fear-mongering over LifeWise, the Christian found clubs, and parents belonging to Moms for Liberty, who advocate for strong academics in schools, full parental involvement, and age-appropriate content in K-12 education. A recent local opinion article sought to malign people like me as extremists for advocating for our children's education, and also characterized parents who give their permission for the children to attend an off-campus Bible school, classes during the day, as adults trying to, quote, lure kids with snacks, end quote. It's ludicrous, of course. It's classic fear-mongering at its finest. It's hugely disappointing that those for whom the last few years have frequently stood at this pulpit demanding that the district do more to stop bullying in our schools have turned into the biggest bullies in Gig Harbor as they try and shut down and shut out anyone they disagree with in the name of inclusivity. Christians and conservatives certainly are not getting that sense of belonging from them. While there are intolerant individuals seek to persuade the district from allowing the found clubs to have presence on campus or LifeWise to operate in cooperation with the district, it's important to note that in the 6 years I've been attending school board meetings or watching them virtually, I may not have missed something, but I do not recall one single time that a conservative or a Moms for Liberty member has ever asked the district to, for example, shut down a pride club. I don't remember us targeting them. I don't remember any of us trying to shut the other members of society in our community out of the Maritime Festival. I don't remember any of us trying to shut them out and telling them they don't belong here because they don't think like I do or that we do. There are members in this community who have different ideas, and to be truly inclusive and to have a sense of belonging doesn't mean that we are trying to encourage Christian nationalism. And separation of church and state is something that came from a letter from Thomas Jefferson. It is not a law. And what the intent of that is that the nation shall not create a church state like the Church of England that everyone must belong to. What it means is that everyone has a right to worship how and the way they will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call one more time for Vivian Sweet. No? Okay. And that concludes our public comment for the evening. Okay. We are now going to roll on to our reports and presentations. So item 7.1, I would like to call up Wendy Malich and our students. She'll call those students up to talk about our spring athletics and activities report.
Good evening, members of the board and the superintendent, Barb, who just went that way. I know, I'm teasing. Tonight we are thrilled to share the outstanding highlights of our spring athletes and activities season across the Peninsula School District. The spring truly reflected the very best of our programs, anchored in 4 key pillars: academic excellence, high student participation, championship performances, and exemplary leadership and sportsmanship. Across Gig Harbor and Peninsula High Schools, nearly 700 students stepped up to participate in spring athletics, alongside hundreds more in our performing arts and academic activities. Tonight, we are incredibly proud to celebrate the dedication, leadership, and successes of these remarkable students. And I do want to make a little note. Normally, our report is like 25 slides long, but this time it's only 17 because spring sports aren't finished yet. So we're reporting a little early than we normally do, so that will be reflected in what the students say. I'm excited to bring up my Student Athletic Leadership Council members to go through the slides.
Hi, I'm Britta from Gig Harbor High School. Our high school participation numbers this spring demonstrate the vibrant culture of engagement in our district. We saw 375 athletes take the field and court for Gig Harbor and 342 for Peninsula, bringing us a fantastic district-wide total of 717 spring sport athletes.
Hi everyone, I'm Kainoa. I'm a junior at Peninsula High School. I'm talking about participation in middle school. As you can see from the numbers on the board, it's quite impressive about the participation. We've had a massive turnout, totaling around 831 athletes, highlighting the energy. 580 of those students are currently active in the thriving track and field, and I believe they have their track meet coming up next week? Tomorrow? Or next Wednesday? A week from tomorrow. So if you guys could come and support, that would be much appreciated.
Hi. Hello, I'm Ava again. We like to say student athlete because student is the most important, and we had a lot of outstanding academic awards. I'm going to read it off because I do not want to get it wrong. Okay, so earning the Distinguished Award for Team GPA of 3.0 or higher were Gig Harbor Baseball, alongside Peninsula's girls tennis, girls track, boys soccer, boys golf, and girls water polo. And then the Outstanding Award for Team GPA of 3.5 or above was captured by Gig Harbor boys and girls golf, fast pitch, boys soccer, girls tennis, girls and boys track, and girls water polo. From Peninsula, fast pitch and girls golf also earned this honor, as did the combined lacrosse team. Okay, and then also some highlights of our extracurricular activities. Our Gig Harbor Knowledge Bowl placed first in the region and second at state, and the Peninsula, although I think it's joint, Winter Guard placed 10th overall, which secured their highest score ever in Oregon competition history. Speech and debate, we've been giving you updates all year long, but our final one is that there are 3 Peninsula and 7 Gig Harbor students going to nationals in June. And then for drama, as you heard from our representatives earlier, they just wrapped up their spring musicals of Legally Blonde and Into the Woods.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry I missed it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Riley. I'm a junior at Gig Harbor, and I'm going to be talking about girls and boys golf. So first, Peninsula successfully increased their participation in both boys and girls, and Gig Harbor captured the district championship on the boys' side. And as we speak today, both players from both schools are proudly representing the district at the state tournament in Spokane.
All right, now baseball. Both squads from Peninsula and Gig Harbor both had incredible seasons, both being at the top of their leagues, or the division, and playing in the league championship where Gig Harbor came out on top. There are Gig Harbor won the District 3 title. Oh, sorry, I didn't know what district was. District 3 title this past weekend on Saturday, and both teams are moving into state this weekend. Peninsula plays Snohomish on Saturday morning, and Gig Harbor plays their opponent. I think they're playing either today or tomorrow. So that's really exciting. So good luck to both those teams.
Next, moving on to soccer. On the soccer field, Peninsula celebrated a phenomenal rebuilding year, earning a spot in the league tournament. Meanwhile, Gig Harbor rode an incredible wave of momentum to win the district championship this past weekend. They advanced to the top 16 in the state tournament this coming weekend.
Fast pitch, and as a player on the Gig Harbor team, this is really exciting. So for Peninsula, they earned the second in their division and went on to capture the district championship, which is awesome. And they enter the state championship, which is this week, I believe starts on Thursday. They are proudly ranked third in Washington. And then for Gig Harbor, we took second in our division and placed fifth in districts. And we entered the state championship as we're ranked as 15th.
For tennis, the Peninsula team put in immense hard work during this rebuilding season, and that dedication paid off with both one girl and boy qualifying for the state tournament in Vancouver this weekend. Gig Harbor enjoyed a highly competitive season, placing third in the league, and will also have players competing at the state level this weekend.
So next is the combined lacrosse program, which they had a great season. They now have a JV and varsity, which is awesome. And their varsity carried on their hard work in the conference championship, and they faced the tough defending state champions in the state tournament, but they tried their best. So that was awesome.
It has been a record-breaking season for Gig Harbor and Peninsula. At Gig Harbor, we've broken a new 4x2 record by 2 seconds and have placed top at multiple invitationals so far. We are on track to currently win state and both the 4x2 and 4x1 and hope to defend our title. We've also had a surge of personal bests at Peninsula that catapulted their teams to top tier in the league, and both teams have been going very strong this year. That's about it.
For this year, Peninsula has had a record of 12-2, and they are currently ranked second in Division 2, and they have their championship this weekend. Gig Harbor has a record of 10-7, and they will be heading to Division 1 state in, I believe, 2 weeks.
Hi, I'm Maya Rogers. I'm a senior at Peninsula High School, and I'm here to talk to you today about the middle school sports. And so we've had a big emphasis on middle school sports, just wanting to engage them more within the district and kind of get them ready for the high school level that they're going to compete at. So this year we got to host a girls soccer tournament, and they had a JV and varsity compete. And we had our middle school basketball tournament, and we were most proud of all the sportsmanship awards we got to give out to hopefully carry those sportsmanship to high school athletics. And then I'm also going to talk to you about Unified Spring Sports. This year we had a total of 45 participants, 31 soccer players, 2 managers, and 31 track and field competitors. And this year we actually got to host a games with Special Olympics, and it was really cool because each school in the district made posters. So when you drove past Peninsula, you just saw this big array of posters, and that was super cool to see and just celebrate all the unified community. And each school got to take their posters with them, so it's just super cool getting to connect with all of them. And then we have our district track meet this week, so hopefully we'll get some state qualifiers to compete at the state. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to be talking about the dance team, which ended up winning state. The H2O dance team competed at the state dance and drill competition, qualifying in 3 separate categories, which were hip hop, dance, and pom. We nailed every single performance, and we brought home the first place state championship trophy in the pom category.
And then our Student Athlete Leadership Council continues to be a driving force for our positive social change and student advocacy. As we say goodbye and thank you to 11 graduating seniors, the council is growing rapidly. We welcome 25 new members to bring our total strength to 40 leaders next year. This group met yesterday and finalized plans to visit every district middle school next week, welcoming incoming 8th graders and introducing them to the wide array of sports and activities we do.
Me. Oh. Whoops. Yeah. I should pay attention to my slide list, shouldn't I? What does say me? As you can see, spring athletics and activities continue to provide invaluable life-changing opportunities for our students. The next 2 weekends will prove that our students are ready to take on state titles. This season, we successfully celebrated, as I said before, academic excellence, with most of our teams getting above a 3-point grade point average. And just so you know, they take the team roster and all the grade point averages of the kids and then average that to make a team GPA. So all our kids are exceeding at high levels. We are having championship performances with 5 district championships this past weekend across our sports. We're growing participation rapidly at all levels, and we're inspirational student leadership. These kids are amazing. They got down to work yesterday and planned 30-minute assemblies for each middle school, and they're going to go visit and have those assemblies and play games and invite those 8th graders into the high schools, which we're really excited to do next week. And that was all generated by them. They wanted to do that. So these programs continue to build character, instill teamwork, and foster deep pride in our schools and the greater community. So thank you, all of you, for your support of our programs. We appreciate you. Okay.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Yeah, you do. You are outstanding ambassadors for the school district. Yes, okay. And now you can go. Okay, item 7.2 on our agenda this evening is the review of the first read of the recommendation for adoption of our new math curriculum. So John Yellowlees, our Chief Academic Officer, will come to present that.
Good evening, Board of Directors and Superintendent Barr. Thank you for your time this evening. And we are here tonight to talk about K-12 mathematics. And we're excited to talk about all 3 levels. So we'll have a discussion about elementary mathematics, middle school mathematics, and high school mathematics. So it's unusual for us to present 3 in one. So we'll follow the same format, though, for each of the 3 levels. We'll talk about a summary of student, family, and educator input that took place throughout the pilots. We'll do an overview of each of the selected curricula. We'll talk about the cost estimates for each, and we will take your questions at the end of each presentation. So we'll do elementary, take your questions, middle, take your questions, and then high school and take your questions. So we are at, this is a picture that many of you are familiar with of our adoption process. We're currently at stage 6, step 6 of the process, which is school board adoption. We're at this step because over the past 2 weeks, we've been going through step 5, which is our instructional materials committee, where the adoption committees come before IMC and they present the process that they've gone through. So our job in IMC is to really look at the process they followed, ensure that it was followed with fidelity, ensure that it matches up to the criteria in our policy and procedure 2020. And if it does, which it did in all 3 cases, we make the recommendation to the board to consider each of the 3 recommendations, in this case at elementary, middle, and high school. So another quick overview of the process here. I'm just going to talk a little bit briefly about the first 3 steps in the process. So our teams have been working on the adoption process itself over the last 12 months, but really this goes back to the winter of 2024 when we brought a team of educators together to look at the research and come up with some guiding principles for our upcoming mathematics adoptions. And this was applied to all 3 levels. Those guiding principles really looked at, the teams dug into the research around math, the science of math, best practices in mathematics, and that was a core foundational component that was used as we went through these adoptions and pilot processes. The next step there, step 2, the rubric screening. So in each of the 3 levels, elementary, middle, and high school, we use the same 3 rubric screening tools to narrow down the choices. So we start looking at a high number of curricula that are possible contenders. We use these screening tools to narrow it down to those that we are going to pilot. So the IMET, the EQUIP, and then the OSPI screening for bias content tools were used in each of the 3 adoption processes. And then finally, the classroom pilot, as we narrowed it down in each case to 2 curricula to pilot each level. All pilot educators piloted both sets of curriculum and gathered data from parents, families, students, and educators. So with that, we will start with elementary. I'm going to turn it over to Natalie Boyle, our Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning, and then John Helwick will come up and talk about secondary. He's our Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning, and I'll ask Natalie and John to introduce the Adoption Committee team members that they will be presenting with this evening.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. I am going to let my colleagues introduce themselves real quick as we get started.
Good evening. I'm Christine Chang. I am your K-12 math instructional facilitator, and I am so thankful to be a part of this journey.
I'm Katie Strother. I teach kindergarten at Minter Creek.
Right, so we're here to talk through the elementary process. John kind of talked about those beginning stages of going through the rubric and narrowing that curriculum down. There we go. Our elementary adoption committee consisted of 19 teachers that were representative of all 10 elementary schools, and then we made sure we had at least one representative from every grade level. Through the rubric process that John was talking about, we take all of the different math curriculum that is out there, and using our math guiding principles, as well as some rubrics and some beginning data that we had collected from families, educators, and students, we narrowed all those different curriculum out, and we kept on narrowing it and narrowing it. So we started, once we really narrowed it, started going through the rubric process, we had 23 different curriculum that we looked at. We took it through that first round of rubrics, narrowed it to 8, 5, 4, and then we landed on our final 2 products that would be piloted in our pilot classrooms. Those products were Eureka Math Squared and then Envision Math Plus. Envision Math is what our classrooms currently, what is our school board adopted curriculum currently. We currently have the 2013 version of Envision. Envision Math Plus is the 2027, they're looking to the future, the 2027 version of the curriculum. So we wanted to ensure, while we had 19 members that were all going to pilot and work through this process with us, we wanted to ensure that we had more teacher voice in this and make sure we had a little bit more representation across the grade levels. So we asked some colleagues to join us on the journey of piloting. We ended up having 32 classrooms pilot both sets of curriculum. And that's a representative of about 675 students in the elementary K-5 that engaged within that pilot. We collected data from them, we collected data from their families, and so all of that contributed to this process. Both of our pilot cycles were 6 weeks of each curriculum. That represents about 29 to 30 instructional days for math. And then it just concluded, almost 2 weeks ago. Our committee met on June 12th, and the objective of that meeting was go through all the data. So the first set of data that we looked at were student work samples. Throughout our piloting process, we collected student samples from every grade level. We collected an exit ticket or some sort of like daily task that a child worked on. And then we also collected assessment data. And so our team sat together and looked at a big pile of data representative of classrooms across our district for those 2 different curriculums. Some other pieces that were collected in that evidence was we asked our pilot teachers to complete rubrics. And so those rubrics were much like the rubrics that we used to narrow down the curriculum. It talks about the alignment to the standards, the mathematical practices, alignment to our guiding principles, but it's also about teacher experience and usability, some of the digital aspects. We wanted to make sure that this was a well-rounded product, that all teachers, not just teachers who had a passion for math, had experience in math, were going to be able to do and implement at high levels. The other pieces of feedback that we included were student feedback. So at the end of each of the pilots, we asked our students to complete a survey. We let kindergarten and first grade have a pass on doing surveys, so it was more representative of grades 2 through 5. I'm excited to share that we had 300 respondents for Eureka Math Square survey and 275 students that responded for Envisions. So a lot of passion and engagement within that process. Another set of data was the family feedback. So parents whose students were in pilot classrooms received updates from their teachers. Both curricula had family letters that went out to families talking about the units that were being taught. They also got initial word about the pilot process and how to find our curriculum review website. So they too got surveys at the end of each pilot. As often happens, we get a lot of responses with one and not so in the second, right? The parent says, I already completed a survey about math. You want another survey? So for family, we had 49 represented of our first pilot, which was Eureka Math Squared, and then 13 for the feedback for Envisions. And then a lesson that we learned through our ELA pilot is we have a lot more than 32 elementary classroom teachers within our district. And so giving non-pilot teachers the opportunity, maybe some of them wanted to pilot, but we didn't have enough space or it was just too much. Our teachers are also teaching CKLA for the first time this year. But they still wanted to be able to thumb through the teacher manuals, the workbooks, and see the materials themselves. So we encouraged our committee members to bring their instructional materials from each of the pilots down to a staff meeting during a collaboration and just give that opportunity for their colleagues to look at the materials and ask some questions. And then we ask for their feedback as well. Just to have another voice of represented, they're not piloting, so it's not the same sort of experience, but to be able to see it. And so we did get some responses, 19 with the first pilot and 11 with the second. And then finally, as part of our expectations through our piloting process and our curriculum review process, we always post a very public website that has resources and timelines throughout this process. It was the curriculum review site that's been posted since last May, late last year. And so within that, as soon as our pilot started, I posted curriculum materials for the community or the families to see. They include student samples of the materials, teacher samples, as well as videos about the curriculum. Some of the vendors give us generic logins where you can log in and check it out. And then I post a survey. We received one response, that entire survey. So we had all of this data that was brought to the committee to make a decision. The majority of our day on the 12th is just looking at the data. So teachers often want to reach consensus right away, and Christina and I said, no, we have to really look at the data. I can honestly say, and Katie can agree, that I made them read every single response. If somebody took the time to read or to create a response, it was important that it was read. So after looking at all of that data, our committee reached consensus on recommending Eureka Math Squared as the new elementary math curriculum adoption. So with that, Katie is going to talk about some themes that we heard.
So one of the really cool parts about Eureka Squared is that it focuses really heavily on math discourse with the students. And so instead of it being just a whole bunch of workbook pages, it was really intentional hands-on activities and provided opportunities for kiddos to really think about math in different ways. So there was lots of hands-on activities and manipulative tools. The kids really liked that they got to talk to each other. A couple of the kids in the survey, it was super sweet. They were excited that it challenged them in a fun way. And a lot of the kids really liked that Eureka gave them a lot of space, physical space, to do their work. And it made them think deeper about their math, and they really liked talking to each other. I had kiddos that had never raised their hand for anything ever. And when I started teaching Eureka Squared, they started raising their hand and shared. So it was really cool. Eureka really focuses on low floor, high ceiling. And so every kid has access, and that was felt in all of the student surveys.
So I have the privilege to share a little bit about the family feedback themes and surveys. As a parent and a long-term math educator, I think it is so super important to communicate what our students are learning in school. Mathematics is not an easy subject, and as a student, I struggle for a very long time, but understand how important it is. So I will summarize a little bit about the family feedback. And so from the families, the curriculum works for all learners. So for any type of learning, we have provided different modalities. It provides students a deeper understanding of what math is about versus just memorizing rules and procedures. Many of us thought that way. And then definitely the family observe some boost of confidence in students. And so I'll read a quote from these two quotes, and pardon me, as I become more mature, my eyesight are not as reliable anymore, so I'm just gonna read on the screen here. One of the quotes says, "My student has been talking more about math at home, using mathematical vocabulary and engaging in mathematics in everyday context. I love that the curriculum is based around developing a deep conceptual understanding, not just procedural knowledge." And I think that is very important for our students to have multiple ways to think about mathematics, to problem solve versus following a certain steps of how to do a problem. I'm going to pass back to Katie regarding the education.
We reviewed a lot of math curriculum, and I'm confident that we chose the two best ones. We looked at lots of different teacher guides. We looked at all the online platforms. Eureka by far was the simplest and easiest to understand and teach. Anyone could pick the book up and just go right from it. There's a lot of examples in it, so you don't have to think about things on the fly. And so it's nice that if you have a new teacher or a substitute teacher, it gives examples of exactly what you're looking for the students to respond with. It has visual examples. Everything is just really easy to access. I can also say that the online platform was the easiest to access. And so it was just nice being able to find all of your materials right where you needed them. You didn't have to go searching for them like we were seeing in some other platforms. So the teacher guide is really nice. The student materials are all prepared and prepped. You're not going and looking anywhere. It's all in an activity book. So you're not printing anything extra. You're not looking for something that it's referencing in the teacher guide that's not in the student book. It's all very streamlined. So it'll be really nice for our educators.
All right. A real quick piece about cost estimates, with the caveat that these, of course, are estimates. As we review curriculum, we ask our vendors to provide 3- and 6-year quotes just so that we can see the different options that go into an adopting a material. Something that we often think about is implementation as a 3 to 5 year cycle. And so we know that one and done professional learning is not what's going to give our educators confidence to educate our students with high levels. And so that 3 to 5 year means professional learning throughout, coaching cycles, and support. We're not looking to adopt something and go through this process just for a year, but we, in an ideal teaching and learning world, we would have about a 6-year cycle of looking at it, looking at the data associated with our math metrics, and then see if this curriculum's meeting our needs or if we need to pursue something else. So these are rough estimates that include the teacher materials, which is a 1-year cost associated, that first year cost. It also is a new set of math manipulatives that will be used in the classroom. And then each year we will have to renew with the digital licenses and the student consumables. There are student consumable workbooks that stay at home for the family to recognize what we're going through within the classroom, as well as student consumables that are in the classroom. So the 3-year estimate includes all of those consumables for 3 years. The other thing this quote does not include is the professional learning, and that is a large piece of our dedication to high quality implementation of new district adopted curriculum. So with that, I'll bring my friends back up and let you ask any questions.
Thank you for the presentation and for the enthusiasm. This is a really big deal. I mean, all curriculum are, but math and the literacy curriculum, we want to make sure that we get it right. So thank you for taking the time to put so much thought into this process. Will you just talk a little bit about a couple of things that I want everyone to hear? What does the delivery look like? Is it a stand and deliver? Is it a productive struggle? How does that look? Because we've seen some different modalities over the years, and some people love one and not the other. Is it online? Is it pencil and paper? All of those things. So like the practical application, what that looks like.
So it is a really balanced and intentional format. There is a lot of different activities that we do. So there are slides that are included that you can use. And for kindergarten, it looked like maybe 5 or 6 really, really plain slides that just gave you the basic information. And students were either asked to, for my experience, we were either asked to work on whiteboards to kind of draw out what we're thinking, or work with someone next to you to talk about what you're seeing, or share as a class what you're seeing, using different manipulatives to show what's on the board. There were opportunities for pencil paper work, and it seemed like each lesson had like a little bit of it here and there, and different activities were practiced again and again. For kindergarten, the only like online I would say is in the whole 29-ish lessons, there were 2 short videos that the kids got to watch, and one of them, I still think about it. It was this silent video, and it had a ramp with toy cars, and it didn't have any like noise or anything. It was 3 cars that were going down a ramp, and it happened, and the kids, you ask them, what did you guys notice? And they're like talking like, I think this car went down faster because I think there must be a switch at the top that makes it go down faster. And it's this silent video, and all of the kids were talking and all this heavy discourse, and they were using a lot of math vocabulary. So it kind of depended on the day. But it was like a really fun mix of different activities instead of right now we're just doing maths, which are just pencil paper things.
And you mentioned the low floor, high ceiling. So can you talk about what like a differentiated instruction model would look like in one classroom, one teacher? How does that work?
It's pretty organically built in just through like the heavy discourse. And so I'll deliver something where I give the kids different strategies, and then we really focus on each strategy a little bit each day, and we repeat it again and again. So kids are able to choose the strategy that works best for them. Through the discourse, the kids are hearing other kids give their strategies. And so they're being able to hear things that it's not just from me. Mm-hmm. It's like they're seeing it from other kids. They're seeing it represented in a drawing this way or in a drawing this way. And so it gives more access to everybody, not just what I'm sharing. They all get to see what everybody's doing and find their own thing that works the best for them.
Great. No, that's
I'll just add a little bit to that as well. Through our professional learning, especially for the intermediate grades, where that point of the lesson where the students are released to work on their workbook pages, the workbook pages, each assignment is scaffolded within it. So it may have 6 problems, and the first one has a lot of modeling that is built into the workbook page. And so the teacher might pull a small group back and work on questions 1 and 2, maybe grab some manipulatives, help students understand that concept. Whereas later within the assignment, those become more independent and get that level of rigor goes up significantly. So the teacher can say, this group of students is released to their desks. Why don't you start on question 3? And so they were very specific with our professional learning that there isn't the expectation that every single student is finishing every single problem in the workbook, but it is accessible to them. They're understanding the concept, and they are completing it at that point where they are ready.
What's the, you mentioned that not all the teachers obviously get up to participate in the pilot. So what's the plan for PD for the teachers prior to the upcoming school year?
Absolutely. So because, spoiler alert, sorry, John, because we are doing Math K-12, we will have a big math professional learning day, August 24th, which is the day before our classroom teachers come back for August professional learning. And then the 26-27 school year has the gift of an October day, which is fantastic because August is a fire hose for our educators. And so they are learning a new curriculum, trying to learn all the other things, meet new principles, go through nuts and bolts, policies, and all of that. And this October professional learning day allows us to come back to math professional learning for a full day after the teachers have already had a couple of weeks of instruction. And so they'll have really good questions for our trainers and have some context to what they've learned about through that professional learning. And just like we have done with CKLA, we will hire our Eureka Math Squared coaches, the experts from the curriculum, to come into our buildings and coach with teachers, providing the opportunity to plan together, for modeling instruction, for seeing instruction and getting feedback. In fact, our CKLA coaches are in district this week with our elementary teachers, and so following that same professional learning model that our teachers are getting with ELA this year.
Okay, thank you. And then over the years, since the state implemented Common Core, a lot of parents over the years that talk, I've heard say that it was really challenging for them to help their kids with homework. With the new, what's the parent feedback on their ability to be able to help their kids with their homework on this curriculum?
For Eureka material, for every unit, there is family to support that topic. And you take a look at it, it's very visual. So it's very intuitive for the to read, and that will align with what classroom teacher strategies and just for that topic. So the parents will be able to look at the homework assignment or practice or anything that the student has and be able to support them that way. And that's one thing about material that many of the strategy is you start with visual because that makes sense. That very intuitive, they look at patterns, and so for adults to support that learning is much easier than just numeric or thought.
What support do we give the parents that might be struggling on helping their kids with their homework? If they're challenged themselves,
right.
What support do we give the parents to help their kids?
And then we will also have an apply book for the parents to use as part of the support, so that it's coherent with the class learning.
So the Apply Book is a book that can be sent home, and I heard from our teachers that they use it in different ways. Kindergarten doesn't have an Apply Book, sorry. First grade through fifth grade does. But it's a book that can be sent home each day, or it can just stay home, and the teacher in their newsletters or in their work can say, hey, we're working on this lesson this week. So the Apply Book has the family letters, but it also gives very scripted examples of how to solve the different problems along with practice problems. The other element that I think some of our schools, I know Swiftwater has done it, but we need to encourage is more family math nights and inviting our families come in to learn about math, to play math games. Christine is really good about making all of us play math games when we are together, or if you're in your office, she has posters about math problems. So just that ability to educate our families, just like we have done with reading, but that opportunity to bring our community in and teach them about math and the different strategies that we're using that aligns with instruction.
Yeah. So we recently adopted a new reading curriculum. And in math, seems like especially at the younger grade level, should be something that would stay consistent over long times. So the math that I learned 50 years ago in elementary school, it's still math. It's still plus minus multiplication tables, stuff like that. So it seems like the curriculum, other than maybe the delivery system, should stay pretty consistent. It's a lot of money, and I guess is what I'm looking at. And how long do you think this curriculum will last at that level, aside from maybe some changes to the delivery system?
Yeah. So, yes, the math is the same, right?
Yeah.
And much like ELA, the reading is the same, right?
Right.
We're learning more about the brain, right? As we are growing in our technology and our ability to learn more about how we learn how to do things and better understand. So this philosophy in teaching math really breaks it down in a different way, where you and I are probably required to memorize, have our memorization tables. I don't know about you, but as I had to do that again with my own children and thinking about my multiplication tables and how many I had forgotten, right? I can't say that I truly understood why we did long division the way we did. I just memorized it, right? Or why we did multi-digit multiplication and what all those zero placeholders meant, right? So what we've learned about the science of learning is that breaking it down into these different strategies gives kids that long-term ability to understand the numbers behind the math and gives them that ability to understand, as the math gets harder, the different problems that it is associated with. That's why kind of that strategy change is prevalent within this math. Regarding how long a curriculum lasts, we've had our current curriculum for 13 years. The vendor will still send us printed copies of our math mats that are aligned for all of those years. The only thing they've done is they haven't kept the lights on the digital access to it. So we have a 2015 version of the digital access versus the 2013. So vendors will continue to print math and a curriculum as long as it, is being supported and used by districts. Right. Those are financial decisions that districts made. We know through our math scores that we needed to have a reboot and an update, and a lot of that is professional learning, but a lot of it is the most up-to-date materials that are out there that are aligned with the learning strategies that we know about the brain and best practices. And yes, I want to acknowledge it's a lot of money.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're not the only district that's going through curriculum changes. Where are some of our neighbors, or the state at on adopting this particular curriculum? Is it where we're seeing other districts going the same route?
You want me to speak to that?
Is it a large percentage, or?
I will say, we started with 23 curriculum, right? There's a ton. Anybody will sell you a math product that wants to, right? There are a lot of products out there. We do have some neighboring districts. I work closely with my job-alike colleague in the Bethel School District, and they have adopted both CKLA and Eureka Math Squared. They have been a Eureka Math customer for many, many years, so they just updated to the newest version. But we do regionally have, our support person is regional. We do have regionally partners within this work, and they are a national vendor. And so it's a very robust support system. Materials are very robust and all of those pieces.
So like Bethel, that's been doing it for a few years, what have they seen in the scores? Have they seen them go up using this? Where are their scores at?
I can't tell you exactly right at the moment where their OSPI report card scores are. But when I talk to my job-like partner, they are very happy with the rigor within the classrooms and teachers being able to provide that rigor within their classrooms.
Can I jump in for a second on that? Because I was thinking about scores while you guys were talking. This was several minutes ago, but I was actually noticing the stories that I found really compelling were the ones about the student who's talking about math at dinner, or the student who's never asked a question before or shared a thing, and now they're suddenly engaged in a new way. And I think that speaks volumes, especially at a younger level. So I am very excited about that. And also, this is not certainly the only consideration, nor should it be, because we're not wanting you to get the cheapest curriculum you can find. But I would be curious to know where the price falls about in the range, and if it's higher, why you feel it's worth anything extra that you haven't already said.
Yeah. I only have relevant quotes for the 2 that we piloted, so I don't go through that whole quoting process with vendors. We're not going to go through that pilot process. And Eureka Math Squared is more expensive than Envisions Plus. We have been an Envision customer for many years, so I don't know. Each company gives us discounts based on different elements. And so I can't speak to specifically where those different discounts and that kind of stuff is. Math is cheaper than ELA, so this is less than we are purchased our ELA materials for. So I don't know, it's hard to say for a range, and we get quotes. I give them the numbers of our total enrollment by grade level, and so I don't get a per student, it costs $15 or something like that. So it's hard to look at other districts.
Sure. I just felt like I needed to ask since we just were looking at the one, but and then I just have a comment. I think this is probably my favorite thing we do. One of my favorite things we do as a board is curriculum adoptions, because it's such a fun. For us, it's a chance. It's one of the only chances we get to feel like we really get a glimpse into what's going on in the classrooms. And Katie, I appreciated you especially. I don't know if you realize this even. When you talk about this, you actually get excited and animated about math and kindergarten, and it's amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you it's a ton of work, but to see how much you've invested in it, and it sounds like the kids are loving it. So thanks.
I would piggyback on what Chuck said. It's just that with Bethel only doing it 2 years, and you get your SBA data a year behind, so it's going to take a while for a cohort to be able to go through and follow a cohort through, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade to really determine whether to answer your question, Chuck. So 1 year of data really isn't a trend. Just a thought.
Katie, could I ask you, so I had the pleasure and opportunity, I think when you had 8, when you were in here, you had 8 different, maybe it was the day that you were all going through all the math, and that you were all at the different tables, and there was such an energy and a power, because you guys were critical. You were really critical consumers. You were like, I like this, I don't like this, and that. Can you talk just a little bit about that? Yes. And I think it's important that the board understands, you represent a group of people, and could you just kind of share about, the excitement, because I know that I've heard it and seen it, because the power of all of you being in the same place, all of you having professional development, all of you having quality materials and new manipulatives is super powerful, as we've seen with CKLA.
Yeah.
So
I opened and looked at and read many curriculums. We looked at the best of the best. People sent us full kits with teacher guides, student activity books, and Eureka was by far the most teachable. When we're looking at teacher guides, I don't know the last time you guys have seen a teacher guide, but it's about 0.6 font. And it is all crammed onto a page, and it's a bunch of blah, blah, blah that doesn't really pertain to what we're teaching. Eureka doesn't do that. Eureka gives you the information that you need on the page. It has other areas where you can kind of dive more into your professional development on those subjects, but with the other curriculum that we were seeing, it would have my kindergarten students doing 5 or 6 pages a day, and they would have to have a workbook open that's this thick, and then they have to have manipulatives next to them and a whiteboard here, and all shuffling that all at the same time. And that was like a lot of the lessons that we were looking at. We also, as a whole team, were looking at what would fit best for all of our students. And so when I look at a lot of curriculums are based off of like a certain grade level, and then it's built around that grade level. And so a lot of the times kindergarten is quite forgotten. And so we all felt like Eureka had components for each grade. Eureka was founded like by teachers who wanted a curriculum that they could teach that they felt good about. And so Eureka's been around for a really, really long time. I taught Eureka back in student teaching 10 years ago, and it's so much better than it used to be, and it was good before. So when we're looking at all these different curriculums, like this was by far the best. Anyone could pick this up, anyone could teach it. It would give all of our teachers like a lot of confidence in what they're teaching. We're not looking for different information. It's all right here. It's right where we need it. Other curriculums did not offer that. So this by far, to me, is worth the cost. Like we've been kind of looking at the cost the whole time, like just looking at it, and this has always been worth it. I'm always like, yep, this is absolutely worth it. So.
I have one last shout out for the teachers. I may or may not have a kindergartner who may or may not be in one of the presenters' classes, and I know how much work goes into, adopting the new CKLA, as well as testing out different math and wrangling 5 and 6 year olds. So kudos to you and the rest of the teachers for giving it a whirl for us.
I also just want to add, I'm so sorry. I was so excited to adopt CKLA. I felt so good about it, and I have that same feeling with Eureka. Like, I'm so excited for it to be here. So.
Her famous last words.
Can I just add, I'll just add one more thing that I think applies to each of the 3 presentations you'll hear tonight. And Chuck, to your point, like what other districts are implementing that? It's an important question, and we should be looking at Bethel and Seattle and other districts that are implementing this curriculum. What we don't know is how they went about implementation, and I think that's a critical piece. This is one step in selecting a curriculum to adopt, but the next phase is really that PD and that implementation. And what we haven't done a great job in the past always is creating a 2 to 3 year professional development plan and committing. We're spending a lot on whatever new resources and materials that we select. So what does that look like over a 2 to 3 year period in terms of professional development for our staff, investment in that, opportunities for our principals to get trained so that they know what they're looking for and how they're supporting teachers when they're in classrooms. So that applies to each of these three curricula that you'll hear. So we're committed to that and investing in that so that we do this well and do it successfully so that we do improve outcomes for students.
I really do think like the most important part is that like the students are excited about it, because just like as you move through, I've like tutored a lot of kids from like elementary to middle school to high school, and like as you kind of go up, like the math gets harder, but really like the foundation's the same. So like you see a lot of kids who like went through elementary school and they were like, oh, I really didn't learn like my fractions well, or I really hated doing division. And it's like fine because you think it's just like a small thing, but once you get up, like the kids who really like enjoyed it and had fun doing it have a lot like more success, and they're kind of the ones you see in like the top, I guess, like math classes at the high school.
We met with a nonprofit a couple of years ago, and it just this conversation reminded me about that there's a correlation that she found, that the leader of this organization found, between math performance scores and a student's sense of belonging, and they tracked almost identically. So I think when we're having kids who can talk about math and parents who can talk about math and they stay engaged, the other piece of that is you are more inclined to feel included in your environment if you are engaged in what you're doing. If you're lost in math, and I feel like that's one of the areas where students drop off, if you're sitting there in school all day and you don't know what you're doing, you will not feel connected to that day. So it's critical that we have kids who want to talk about math.
Confidence.
Yeah, thanks. All right, middle school.
Okay, thank you. I'm very fortunate to be joined up here with Susie Mock from Goodman Middle School and Christine. And before I forget, I want to make sure that I give a big shout out to Christine, working with all 3 levels. She's been fantastic. Next year, I get her all to myself because she'll be working with just middle school and high, and that's going to be a great opportunity for our secondary teachers to work with her. And to Natalie, because a lot of what she said is going to be the same for what we're doing. And that's intentional, and I think it's what we want and it's what you would want. You don't want us to be coming up here and going, okay, now you've heard all about elementary math. Now we're going to give you a whole different spiel about middle school math and high school math. That's going back to what John started with 16 months ago, back when we got together with a K-12 group and said, what are our guiding principles for math district-wide? That was the goal, is that when kids move from elementary and then they go into middle school, it's not this jolt that they get because now they're going into a whole different philosophy. You know, when you're talking about instructional methods, are they going to be totally different? We didn't want that. So what we're going to do here, hopefully, is you're going to see a lot of through lines as we move through the next couple. So the pilot, going back to how we got to the pilot, very similar to what Natalie described. We had 8, we started with ed reports, we got it down to 8 curriculum, then we got it down to 3 right before the end of the spring, and then finally we got down to 2 ed gems and Envision math, and those were the 2 that we then piloted in the fall. And we had 10 educators. We had 6 on the review team, review adoption team. And then because we're a lot smaller numbers in math in middle school and high school, we just opened it up to all the other teachers and said, if you want to pilot, you're welcome to. We just ask that you teach with fidelity and collect evidence for the adoption team to use to make their decision. And so we were able to do that throughout those classrooms. And we had 914 students. So we had a large group of students that were able to pilot these 2 programs. And then when we came down to the committee decision, a lot of those, the same process, they're looking at student samples, assessments, and all of those different feedback from the different groups that we heard about before, and you'll hear more about the themes from those in just a minute. One of the things that, you know, when we started this process, again, thinking about what other districts use the programs, Ed Gems was not as widely used, and this is one of the advantages where me being old and gray and having worked in a lot of places helped, because I first met Shannon McCaw, the publisher, back when Sumner was adopting math in 2013, and we were the first in Sumner to adopt her program in Washington. She was just an Oregon-based at that time. And then when we got to this process, I said, we got to look her back up, because I'd never seen teachers and students more excited about math than I'd seen back in those days. And since then, she had sold her company to a larger company that could support her nationwide. And she was in the process of growing that program nationwide. And I think you'll hear about that same kind of enthusiasm has really continued in that program. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to now turn it over to Susie for student feedback.
I was lucky enough to pilot all 3 grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, in both curriculum. I do have background on Eureka, and Ed Gems is the one we are choosing. 10 out of 10 teachers recommended that one. We were like negative for the other one. It was a good opportunity, but it was not realistic for our students where they're at and where they need to go. So I can't tell you, just like our other teacher, the enthusiasm is ridiculously amazing. I have middle school, we are the wedge kids. They come in, they're really excited out of elementary, they get into 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and they're like, wah. And then they find themselves back up in high school, they find their place, their niche. But this curriculum, Ed Gems, was phenomenal to watch the transition. It is designed by this young lady that has also helped assist in writing and getting prepared for the SBA. So all of the information in there is really geared just like we are being assessed, just where the kids are. It has great foundational. I do what we call teach old school math. So, but it still really fits with the new ways of learning and teaching. The students are given, we have 2 days of old school. You have text, you have notes, you take on that. And then you have either the second day or the third day where the kids are involved in their learning. We have activities that is designed to match, and you just let the kids do that. And I have not, in my 29th year of teaching middle school and being in middle school, had such an enthusiastic group wanting to have those. Mock, can we not do the notes? Can we do the activities that it's having? Can we skip that? No, you may not. But they were really engaged in it, and that was like ridiculously amazing. I haven't had it. I wouldn't have thought about it. It's just math for kids. They really enjoyed it. I think when we sent over our materials and the paperwork and all the data from the students, you can definitely tell which program also was beneficial for them. The outcomes themselves, the assessment outcomes were much higher. You saw all sorts of different enthusiasm, and the kids were engaged in it. That's the big thing. They didn't think of it as a math class anymore. It was like, hey, they're coming in, they're getting to do stuff. That was fun. So that's huge for middle school. Absolutely huge for middle school. We went through all sorts of different ways. There's, as far as low to high ceiling, the curriculum is designed to reach all the students. So you can have kids working at this level, kids working at this one, and high reaching, and it still blends in. I teach very avid, to bring that up. We all work together, and so we do a lot of student teaching. I call them student teachers. So if you're doing a great job, can you be the student teacher of the day working with these kids? They all blended. So they all felt like they were belonging, and they all felt like they were doing the same thing, and no one was shunned being in this part. So it was dynamic on that. It was really good. Yep. And again, when you have all 10 of us concise and going, nope, this is it, that's huge for an adoption committee to have that many different type of teacher personalities and experiences and knowledge to just 10 out of 10. That's powerful.
And for the student feedback, there were 362 students that responded to the survey for EdGEMS and 254 for Envisions. And now we'll talk about the family feedback themes. For the family feedback, we had 22 for EdGEMS. Only had one response from a family regarding Envisions. Again, I think, as mentioned before, sometimes they get the second survey and they're like, I already did this. Plus, I just think there was less enthusiasm for that curriculum. So let's talk about family.
Feels like I'm growing with the students through this process. And so as student reach to middle school, the math gets a little harder. We're no longer just doing basic operations. Now we are learning ratio proportional reasoning, we're solving equations, and we're just hair on fire at home. So a couple of summarizing this is that students feel they're pretty confident with solving mathematics on their own. So we are developing more learners that they can problem solve. They are equipped with strategies from school, and then they appreciate just enjoying math a little bit more at home. And I think that is so important. I remember when my son was in middle school, I asked him how was math, and he rolled his eyes. And that is so difficult because I love mathematics. You don't know me that well yet, but I love mathematics, and I want everybody to love mathematics. Just enjoying the learning experiences. And so I think this material, I just read a couple quotes for you. She is understanding much better and less need for help at home. He seems to understand math and had no problems working on his own. The problems were easier to understand, and the workbook wasn't so giant. So I think there is certain accessibility built in for the students so that they feel confident. I think we talked about low floor, high ceiling. I think this material also supports that, meaning that a student given a math problem, there are multiple ways to achieve, to engage with it, versus I recall when I was learning, when you open the textbook, you either identify yourself as a math learner or not, because I just can't process the information. So I think parents also see that in watching their students learn during this short period of time, and I think this feedback speaks up. I'm gonna pass this back.
Just before that, just the numbers on the teachers, there were 9 EdGems and 10 Envisions teachers. Then you can talk about
The teachers, what we liked about it was very easily accessible, just like the curriculum for the elementary. Very easy, where everything was right at one spot, very accessible. Kids could get on it as well. You can send online results. You can send them assignments via online. You can have hard copy. So many different things, and it's great, especially for the students and parents who want to see things right away. They have access to it. It's also a curriculum that you can just send, and the parents can print it off and copy it right away off of there. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to turn it into a different format. It's readily accessible to everybody, which is fantastic. As far as being able to see the lineage of how we go from one standard to another, it was very nicely laid out, very reasonable. So we didn't have why is it doing this and going back to there? It was really nicely laid out in that strategy. So it was really good and follow through. And teachers, my staff, as soon as I came in for the first time, we got into EdGems, I'm like, you got to see this. So every single Wednesday, Goodman teachers already know the curriculum because we have been doing it and I have been sharing with it. Here's what we're working on here. And they've had access to it. They have the teacher access already. So they already have been diving into stuff. I've been very adamant, no. But, they're still getting that opportunity to take some of that and apply it into stuff. So it's been widely liked in our building and across the team. Any questions?
Got one more and we'll open it up for all questions. So there's the 3 and 6 year costs up there that you can see, similar to what Natalie described. That doesn't include the professional development. Professional development will be, again, similar to what Natalie described. We've got the full day on August 24th, and we're going to have another day on October 12th. So we've got that nice launch training and then a good follow-up 6 weeks into school. We also have been able to use our cross-district collaboration Wednesday days. We've done that with language arts. We'll do that with math. So all the 7th grade math teachers, for example, can then get on a Zoom on Wednesday mornings about every 6 weeks and share what they're doing and have that another touch point with their district colleagues as they develop through that. So now we'll open it up.
Sorry, are we still looking at making a goal of all 8th graders taking Algebra 1? And
So we have in the last, starting this year and into next year, are accelerating more students.
Okay.
The accelerating, we have a new pathway that you probably heard about, that we don't have those accelerated classes or those compacted classes that you saw up on the screen. We'll just have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math, but we still have students who have an opportunity after they leave 5th grade to then move to 7th grade math, and then from 7th grade math to move to algebra, and then some students will be moving to geometry. So yes, I'm talking about middle school math here, talking about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math, but not all middle schoolers are going to take all 3 of those courses, and many of them will be taking high school math in their middle school year.
okay. And then just the other one, I know you mentioned like the transition, but when we're picking different curriculum for elementary and middle school and high school, is there a natural bridge, I guess, between a 5th grade and a 6th grade and then 8th to algebra?
I would just say, I think as you hear all 3 levels presented tonight, and you hear the themes, what teachers like, what the kind of instructional philosophy is behind it, and how it aligns with our PSD guidelines for math that we set. That will make it so that it's this. I mean, we're not talking about the same publisher. We didn't pick the same publisher for all three.
Right.
But we think that it's not going to be a big change as they move from one to the next.
Okay, but the standards are the same.
The standards are the
Okay.
same, and the instructional philosophy is similar. Yeah.
I have a quick follow-up on that one, and it's probably a silly question, but do the publishers offer at the different levels, or are they usually pretty specialized?
Well, Envisions was, as you heard, they were all three of these levels.
Okay.
So there are a lot of curriculum that are all three. Envisions is just middle school. And I think that's actually a strength of it. It's been like this curriculum is 20 years old, and they've always just focused on middle school. I meant to say Ed Gems. What did I say? Yeah. Yeah. Now, when we get to the high school and we're talking about Amplify, you've heard the term Amplify before. You know that they're a big publishing company and they have all the levels. So, yeah, there are the big companies that have all levels, and then you have some like Ed Gems that are just in the middle school.
So then is Amplify going to be used in the middle schools, or is suggested to be used like in middle schools for Algebra 1 and Geometry to follow
Yeah.
high school, or is that going to be using Ed Gems?
I'll be talking about that when I get to the high school, because
Okay.
we'll be really talking about high school math, which will include some middle school students.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next, I'm going to be joined by, I'm jealous of Francesco for two things. One is his name. Francesco Artenzo just rolls off your tongue. Helwick, not so much. And the other is he's got a DJ voice. He doesn't even need a mic. You won't need a mic when he gets up here. So he'll be joining us along with Christine again as we talk about high school. And as we've just kind of been alluding to before I dive into this, so we're really talking about, when we're talking about high school math, we're talking about math taught at 7 schools, all 4 middle schools and the 3 high schools. And we're not talking about the upper level math. So we're just talking about AGA, Algebra, Geometry, and Algebra 2. And taught at 2 different levels in 7 different schools. Okay, so that's important to kind of focus on. So our team, our adoption team and review team, did have a middle school teacher on it throughout every meeting, the entire process, and we had pilots from both levels, middle and high, as we went through this. So we had even more classrooms, as you can see here. And again, just to back up, same thing. We went through ed reports. We had multiple curriculum that we looked at, got it down in the spring to Envisions and Amplify Desmos. Teachers were familiar with Desmos. Desmos is Desmos, before it was bought out by Amplify, was a tool that a lot of teachers used as a supplement. So when we talked about Desmos and high school math teachers and middle school math teachers heard about Desmos, they were familiar with it. They're also familiar with Amplify because they have had that in ELA and science. So they were familiar with kind of both of those companies, which had then merged. So there was some familiarity with that. So that's the number of educators. Then when we got to doing the surveys, starting with the students, we had 380 students fill out the survey for Envisions and 472 for Amplify Desmos. And again, this is across both levels at 7 different schools. And again, just like before, we had assessments. We had both kind of shorter kind of exit slip kind of assessments and larger assessments. We had a lot of data that the teachers could look at, along with all of those different rubrics that they put things through. And then they came up with some themes.
What's up, chat? I'm Francesco Ortenzo, National Board Certified Teacher, and I had the honor and privilege of serving on the committee, piloting both of the curricula in the geometry level, specifically. Talking a little bit, back one here. Well, to the one I'm on. Yeah.
Oh,
No, we're good. Anyways, apologies. One of the things that I think students in general from the feedback, but my students specifically really enjoyed was the interactivity of some of these online aspects of the lessons where you can, either through moving a slider or typing in an equation, you can see where it is and how it moves and how changing one aspect of either an equation or something, like you can see it change. And that was really engaging to a lot of students. And really, I thought I observed that you could see kind of a deeper level of understanding and not just, like from a broader base of students. And I also think with that, one of the surprising things that I also saw students really tell me, and I observed it as well, was that the analog aspects of the lessons, sometimes it's like the kids just want to sit down with a pencil and paper and figure it out. This gives them that, it's kind of the best of both worlds. And the kids, I think, really, I saw them engaging and understanding with some, like, I'll go into specifics on the teacher end of the slides, but it was a cool thing to witness. They mentioned the workbook for some of the analog stuff was really neat. The way the assignments are laid out is pretty cool. Kind of, there's some spiraling baked in. We didn't want to lose that from the current CPM curriculum. And that's still there. There's reflection baked in to each lesson and the assessments. That's pretty cool. But as far as what like the students were reporting, that was mostly it. And just the diversity of approaches depending on the lesson, and it's also good because it's not the same lesson the same way every day, right? Diversity of approaches, a lot of focus on discourse. Some days we'll be working with partners, some days it's teacher-led, some days it's groups, some days it's a big activity. It's kind of cool.
As we talk about family feedback, we had 13 families fill out the survey for Envisions and 16 for Amplified Desmos. Also should mention, we did have a preview night for families, and we had 7 parents show up for that and give us feedback and ask questions. So that was also part of where these feedback themes came.
More time, promise. This will be the last time. So we've received some family feedback, and families feel that students are more confident, again, more independent, and enjoy mathematics. So you do see a little bit parallel on different grade levels and how kids enjoy mathematics and the engagement. And I think one of the reasons why we have different publishers supporting math learning, and we have similar theme, is because one of the criteria that we use is our math strategy. So there are specific things that we want to make sure that students have access to learning, and there's different modalities for them to engage, and so to support and to make sense of mathematics. And so I'm just gonna read one of the quote here for you. And it just says, my child was very vocal about how much she appreciates this style of learning, far and away a much better received program. And I think as we recall how we learn high school mathematics, it becomes very abstract very quickly. You see equations that it's hard to make sense of. With this program, it also comes with parent engagement, parent letter. It's called caregiver's letter. And so as a parent, there are certain questions that you can prompt to your students, and then there are visuals to support your understanding and your child's understanding at home. And so I think this program, like share, a lot of the activities are learning through playing and making sense of mathematics versus we have to answer this question correctly. first time. And so it is a different way of thinking about mathematics, but I think it is very powerful. And I believe that the families will see that when we start implementing this next year. And I appreciate just the freedom of making mistakes and learning. I'm gonna pass it back to
And for educators, we had 12 for Envisions and 11 for Amplify.
And yeah, I will say that there was a lot of intense debate in the selection process, and I am a Amplify Desmos convert. It was not my first choice, but then actually working with it, I mean, I've been teaching for 2 decades now, and I was really impressed on how it was built just on a conceptual. Very impressive. I mean, I've heard low floor, high ceiling, and you guys haven't, so I'm skip that part of the notes. But they do approach each lesson with a very kind of like, hey, you could just have walked into the room and let's introduce you to this concept. And okay, now let's dig a little deeper. So I don't, sometimes kids walk in and they're already done. This I think can grab some of that, and while still offering a depth of, it's math, it's powerful, it's beautiful, and there's a lot to explore, But I did want to say, so I'm looking at this, the accessibility piece is there. Absolutely a more positive attitude than currently what we're using. And again, with the interactivity, there's immediate feedback. It's all fantastic. It's great to support learning. I want to talk, just without getting too into the weeds, just an example of how it's kind of built. So they'll just talk about, the difference, literally, mathematically, the difference is how far apart things are, right? So they use that with like the Pythagorean theorem to build the distance formula. And it just, once you understand each piece, they kind of build together. And then they explain that a circle in geometry is, a whole bunch of points that are the same distance away from a central point. Well, you can draw this triangle here off of the radius going straight down and straight over. So there really is the Pythagorean theorem at play there, plus this idea of a difference between x and y. And then they build the formula for a circle. And that's something that I have seen students struggle with. And I have seen, my kids at Henderson Bay going, oh, that's it? Okay. Right. I mean, of course they're like, wait, why is it minus? But then, it's like, oh, it's the difference. Okay. So it's really intuitively done. And we met, and by the time we were done with the pilots, we were like, oh, definitely this, right? I don't need to see test. I can tell you what the test scores are going to do if the kids are engaged and the kids can do the stuff. So that's what I have to say about that.
See, you didn't even notice how far I got from the mic, did you? So I want to note that, and some of you know this, there has not been a lot of consistency district-wide with CPM. And so this is a huge opportunity because we had a unanimous vote and we have everybody united around this. And if we talked about meeting on our collaboration Wednesdays on Zoom to this coming up year on these curriculum, that would have been impossible in the last couple of years because everybody has been going in so many different directions. And so this is just, I'm really excited about bringing everybody together around this curriculum. And with that, go to the cost there and see it. Per student is very much in line with what you saw with the numbers on EdGems. And again, not with the PD cost, but we'll have that put in there. And again, this is that combination of we're trying to find that balance between paper and pencil and digital, using the advantage that digital has that you can't get with pencil and paper, but getting kids not always on the screen and getting them interacting. And when we talk about that notion of productive struggle, be honest, in some of the more recent years, there's been too much unproductive struggle, and that's been frustrating for kids and for parents. this gives us an opportunity to make sure that we're doing the direct instruction, and when there is struggle, it's productive and that we're moving kids forward. With that, we will.
About this, so just to clarify Caitlin's question, I think if we're talking about kids who are in middle school who are accessing these higher level classes, they are getting the amplified curriculum, but are they traveling to the high school? Or are they getting it at middle school, or what does that look like?
If a student's in algebra or geometry,
Yes.
they'll be in the middle school, being taught by a middle school teacher.
Okay.
Using amplified
Using
Desmos
Amplify.
in algebra and geometry.
Okay. And then one of the criticisms that I have heard of CPM over the last few years is that our schedule doesn't really allow for like the full range of what it's intended to do. So does this curriculum fit in our whatever a 55-minute period or what we have?
So I can speak to this and it's in the teacher guide, which is also quite user friendly. I believe the whole curriculum, it's not scheduled to go 180 days. It's intentionally left 150, 160, something like that. But there's extra days because they know that there are field trips. They know that there are some lessons that will take longer. They know that you might want to squeeze something in here, or there's state testing. So I think that it is designed with that in mind. That's another thing about the curriculum, honestly, is that it is one of the things that I was a little worried about at first, is that this was a brand new curriculum. It's in like beta right now. And at first that was off-putting, but now I realize most of the other curricula are just giving you a new version of a textbook that was developed in 1987, right? Yeah. And this one was just from the ground up. It's pretty.
And I didn't really mention that, but I should. The algebra part of this program was completely built out. The geometry and algebra 2 were not. They have promised that it will be for the fall. And luckily, working with Amplify as our elementary and middle school ELA vendor this year, we have seen them be a reliable vendor. They would have a lot of money at stake if they didn't come through on that promise. So we are confident that all of those pieces that we saw in algebra this year, we'll see in the other pieces. But then also when you say, okay, do you have results to show that this is working? We don't, because this is just being developed right now.
Any other questions? Students? You? Okay. Thank you. Okay, it's getting late. Thank you all for staying. We do have a couple more items of business to get through this evening. So we've got a consent agenda, that's item number 8. And as you know, these are all things that are pretty standard, so we don't have a discussion about them unless someone wants to pull it out. So before we get to the vote on the consent agenda, is there a discussion? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
It's been moved by Chuck and seconded by Lori to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried, and the consent agenda is approved. Item 9 is our discussion and action items. And so all of these, I believe, are first read, so we're not taking any official action on anything tonight. We're just putting them on the docket. So the first one is the review and the discussion of the first read of the 2027 through 2030 PSD strategic plan. So we've all had a chance to review that. I know that the district has spent a lot of time out in the community reviewing and taking feedback. Is there any discussion on the review of the first read of this strategic plan?
I'll just thank the district for all the work they put into it and having our study session on it. So just shout out to the district for all their work.
Item 9.2 is the review of the first read of policy 1105 on the electoral system. Is there any discussion on that?
I just want to point out there was a couple people reached out to me about this. They were thinking that we were doing away with our districts, and it's not what's happening. It's just a change in the policy, and I think there was a couple knee-jerk reactions in the language. So I was able to explain to them, no, we're not redrawing the boundaries or getting rid of all of our district school directors. So it was just an update to policy.
I do have also a comment, less about the policy itself, which is why we're looking at it. But I have mentioned this before, but I would love if all of the board members could, between now and the next meeting or in the next little while, read the policy and what our procedure really is, because this is not something that gets addressed very often. It's probably been the same the whole time you've been on the board, and which is fine. But because of growth in the town and the addition of 2 new schools, I think it might be wise for us to look at particularly this area where Swiftwater, this sort of Harbor North area of town, just to look at where and just to familiarize yourself with how we do it and how we're supposed to do it, and to do appropriately. Maybe we do need to look at looking at the population and making a shift with the middle boundary here.
And if you remember, the board, I think you guys were on it at the time, due to population shifts, they did do a redistricting. Your district shifted a little bit, and I want to say that you may not have been on the board yet, but I know when Rand was on the board, his district moved a little bit. District 5, mine shifted a little bit more towards Hollycroft and stuff like that, based on demographics. And so I don't know if it's based off the census or they just go out and they get a demographer to study population shifts in the district. But in the 13 years I've been on board, we did do one redistricting and move the district maps based on population density and change in the district. So to your point, that's a good point.
Anyway, I just think it might be good to
Oh, no, I agree
revisit.
with you. I agree with you. So, yeah.
That's all.
Okay, item 9.3, review of the first read of policy 1114. This is about board member resignation and vacancy. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, item 9.4, review of the first read of policy 1620, board and superintendent relationship. Is there any, it's kind of a funny title. Any discussion about that? Kristen, you have anything about our relationships?
Nothing to say.
This is just really, it's outlining, responsibilities.
It's just replacing the previous policy.
Yeah, exactly. This is all still part of the cleanup, and making sure that we're aligned with state standards. Okay, item 9.5, review of the first read of policy 1820 on board self-assessment. Is there any discussion on that? Item 9.6 is the review of first read of policy 1630, the evaluation of the superintendent. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, that is the end of our business. So item 10 will be the superintendent's report.
All right, at 9:12. I am so looking forward to next year, the year of numeracy. I just want to shout out to elementary, middle, and high school. It's very rare, in my experience, that you would do a full-on ELA adoption one year, and then you would turn around and use the same principles, basically, and then do it for numeracy and for mathematics, and to do K-12. So thank you, board, for considering. Thank you, Ashley and team, for arranging funding. This has been an effort. Thank you for the teaching and learning team and our fantastic mathematics facilitators. It's truly amazing that you would have high school, I know he's gone now, but high school teachers agree, math, agree on one curriculum. So all of this is such an opportunity for us to really fly. I look forward, and I hope that when we invite you, you will come to the elementary or middle or high school opportunities to see it in action. Because when you hear teachers who have had the opportunity to be part of, have voice into, and have students that are excited about their learning, it truly will move the needle. Will it move it immediately? Absolutely not. We should not expect that. However, when a group of people are all rowing in one direction and they have the opportunity to do that, and the kids, the students actually enjoy it and want to come and actually like the math, there's nowhere to go but up. So I'm very, very excited. We have had gaps in professional development, and we have had gaps in quality materials. So I'm very excited about that, as you can tell, because I'm excited about that too. So I will be in and out of math classrooms. The only better thing would be to be in and out of science classrooms, but that's, as we near the end of the school year, I really continue to be inspired. It was an inspiring day here at the beginning to just see our students and just to recognize their hard work and to really just highlight those families, like watching the parents, and you, parents of realizing, and your mom, Beth, realizing that all of the work that you have nurtured throughout all these years, all the headaches, all the heartaches, all the broken hearts, all of those things resulting in just such a wonderful opportunity. So I'm so, so proud of the accomplishments of our students. Again, congratulations to the Tide Hawks for all of their placements. But what I think I was most struck with is them standing up here. I was thinking about that this program has changed their lives forever, that those students were enlisting and they will become the next generation. And they are defending our nation and they are serving. And it's just, it's something to really take your breath away. Just really proud. Yesterday, we also celebrated the groundbreaking of Gig Harbor High School Lower Turf Field project. This will be another exciting investment. Every time I drive by those sports, they're packed. And that is our intent, to have it packed with students from all over our district. Mental Health Awareness Month continues to be an important focus across our district. We have had now 2 youth mental health town halls, one over on the KP side at Key Center, and one last night at the Civic Center here on this side of Gig Harbor. It brought families and community partners. Our community partners were really amazing. Many of you were able to attend. I want to shout out to Becky and Wendy for serving on the panel, and Lisa for facilitating that. Really, we have such an amazing community. And last night, I think one of the speakers said it the best, is that we need to bring it to the kids because it was powerful and it's sobering and it's important. And so on another note, our CFO, Ashley, and I recently attended WASBO conference along educational leaders from across the state. I serve on the UW Soups group, and we had an opportunity to meet with a very small group of University of Washington Soups. There are approximately 20 of us that are serving on that to really look at the prototypical school model and other measures that we can implement and request through legislators. Throughout the last year and a half, we have had legislators come, we have had League of Women Voters, we have had a variety of different outside agencies, we've had OSPI, we've had a variety of groups. But I think what Ashley and I would like the board to know is that when we were there in that room, and there were probably, 10 school districts, 10 CFOs? Six CFOs. And we had a variety. We had University of Washington was there. We had Marissa, right, from WASA. Ashley and I were more aligned, and I felt like we had answers to many of the things that our other superintendents did not know about. And so I think that our relationship and our advocacy, along with the board's knowledge and willingness to be legislative advocates, I was really proud of Ashley always, but I feel like we really gained some traction. So we'll be bringing some of that information back so that you can see the implications of that. We talked about tort change, all the way to implications for transportation, all the way to an increase, which is really important. We had a 48% increase for next year. We were notified last week for our risk management insurance, which means another $1.5 million that we did not estimate. That, coupled with our transitional kindergarten cuts that happened about 3 weeks ago, which was another 1.2 million. So that is 2.7, right? Yep. Okay. $2.7 million bill that we did not anticipate coming, that we have to pay next year. So that's important for us all to note, and that's just what we know today. So I'm sure there is more to come. Good news. It was also, I just have to say, it was wonderful to go to the Bay on display at Henderson Bay High School. I have another bracelet. I have a lot of these, and I am choosing joy this year. Last year, I was courageous, and this year, I'm choosing joy. So it's so fun. That's such a fun event. And what was really cool this year is that Pioneer came, and they sold little birdhouses, and so there's been this cross-pollination of those two schools, so it's really cool. Looking ahead, we are excited for upcoming events. There is Volunteer Recognition Week. We have the Day of Champions, which is so amazing, and I encourage us all to attend. I missed it last year because I had surgery, but I am not having surgery this year, and I will be there, so I'm super, super excited. Tomorrow we have the Sister Cities Croatia event, so we are going to Harbor Ridge Middle School, and we are touring some folks from Croatia and talking about Sister Cities exchange possibility, and the Superintendent Parent Advisory Breakfast, where all of the principals will be bringing a couple parents, and there will be more to come on that because there will be a new program next year. And I was honored to be invited to join the North America K-12 chapter of the Google and GSV Educational Leader Fellowship. I'm one of 20 people nationally. I will have a problem of practice. I will share it with you after tomorrow. Chris and I, we have designed something that is mind-blowing. So I will also need notes in front of it because it's very complicated. We have a lot of seniors and senior events, and we're so proud of our students. And thank you. We have one more board meeting. You realize that in June. The next will be filled with awards and recognitions. And thank you to the board of directors, our students, staff, families, and community for your continued partnership. I can't believe that we are almost done with 25-26 school year. So for those of you with seniors and those of you that are seniors, it goes really quickly. And I think I've said that all along, but now, it's just a train. And so we're so excited for graduation.
Okay. Last on the agenda is board discussion and comments. So, David, do you want to start?
Sure. I'll just go in order. I had the opportunity to go with some of the staff to the Swiftwater a week and a half ago to the Native American Family Night, which was pretty cool. Got to learn about what they've done over the last couple of years, being able to learn more about their Native American heritage. They got some certificates for graduating the program, and they went to a big conference that they were really excited about, and they got their Native American, for lack of a better word, regalia on their sashes, which is pretty cool. They were really excited about that. I went to the Key Peninsula Living Community thing over at the Key Center, and that's always a fun thing to go to every year and meet all the people that provide various social services and things, not just that, but also, Penn Light there and different organizations. It's always nice to go over and meet all those people and talk to them. I know a bunch of us attended the NJROTC ball a week ago, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the the cadets going around making each other go out and drink that grog. So a lot of fun, very, very good event. And the Aero Museum, gives a big shout out to them. They did a good job of hosting that. Tomorrow night is the Students to Distinction, so we're going to have another opportunity to recognize our amazing students tomorrow night at Ocean 5. It's not too late to get a ticket if you want to go. Doors open at 5:30 tomorrow for that. And then, let me see what else we got. I was at an event last week and some people were talking about their school districts and the lack of funding and this and that. And just to your point about, I used to go to the WASBO conferences when I was, public finance banker, and going around the state and talking to school districts about how little the school boards know and their district staff know about how public schools are funded. And one of the reasons that school districts are finding conditions or having to lay off staff or close schools is because I think the state needs to do more to educate their public education staff and school boards in how public finance works. Not think about how prototypical school funding works, because so many people are clueless how that really works. And so we were very fortunate to have such an amazing executive staff here and such a great CFO that keeps us out of trouble with and we passed our audit with a clean audit recently. We didn't mention that, so just, clean audits are always a good thing. Ashley, good job on the clean audit.
Audit.
You're paying attention here.
Obviously.
And then the last thing is just we had an amazing student rep team this year. So shout out to the student reps, and thank the two of you for sticking around for a late night. So that's it.
They don't have anything left to do in school. So that's right. Done.
All your tests are done.
All right. Who's next? Matt?
I can go. When I wrote down everything I wanted to talk about, I didn't think we'd be here at 9:30. But very fortunate to have a platform like this to share a few thoughts tonight. And fortunately, I'm not working against a timer. That joke would have been funnier if it wasn't already 9:30. But I know people want to get out of here. I wrote this down tonight because I didn't want to forget what I wanted to say. Starting out on a lighter note, over the last couple of weeks, my family and I had a chance to attend both Legally Blonde at Peninsula and Into the Woods at Gig Harbor. We're a district full of incredibly talented kids, and both productions were absolutely top-notch. We thoroughly enjoyed them, and honestly, I think I may have a few new thespians in my household now. And for those who saw Legally Blonde, I'm sure you're like me and my family walking around the house going, oh my God, you guys. Oh my, I've been doing it during this meeting. Like, it's all that's in my head. It's taken over our Spotify. It's insane. We're going to watch the movie with the kids soon, but they're probably a little young for the movie version. We're also excited to attend the upcoming middle school production that I think is next weekend. Shifting to something a bit more serious, as Creston mentioned yesterday, I was fortunate enough to attend one of the district's 2 youth mental health town halls, the Gig Harbor Civic Center. As a full-time employee, a board member, a husband, a parent, fitting everything in can be hard, so my wife and I split duties. She attended the earlier session at Key Penn Civic Center. I attended the one last night at Gig Harbor. At the event, doctors, counselors, crisis response teams, district employees, and others spent more than 2 hours sharing expertise and answering questions. I just want to quickly say how incredible it is that our district is willing to be part of a conversation like that. Honestly, we need more students and more families at these events. Last night's was more attended than the KP one, but as superintendent said, we need to get this in front of students. The information shared last night was incredibly valuable, and I truly believe more people would walk away feeling informed, supported, and hopeful if they attended. Youth mental health is widely considered an ongoing crisis across the country and around the world. One topic that came up repeatedly last night was youth suicide. As a parent, it's absolutely terrifying. And while the families closest to these tragedies carry an unimaginable burden, the impact is felt across our entire community. Being a parent is already hard. Adding the complexity of youth mental health takes things to a level I'm not sure any of us ever fully feel prepared for. My children are no different than anyone else's. They've experienced bullying, name-calling, and hurtful moments. And because of that, I'm incredibly thankful for the work our district has done and continues to do around social emotional learning, belonging, and student support. I've heard people question the importance of helping students feel connected or even question the importance of talking about emotions and mental health with trusted adults at school. I'll be honest, I really struggle to understand that perspective. Schools are supposed to be safe places for kids. The reality is we often have no idea what a student may be going through at home, online, socially, or outside of school altogether. For some students, school may be the safest, most stable, and most supportive place they experience all day. That means belonging matters, connection matters, trusted adults matter. And this is not theoretical for our community. Our community has been impacted by suicide. We have felt the pain and heartbreak that comes with losing a young person far too soon. So when we talk about social emotional learning, belonging, and mental health support, this is not about politics or ideology. This is about making sure students feel seen, valued, supported, and safe. At the end of the day, the purpose of school is learning, and it is incredibly hard for students to learn when they do not feel safe, connected, or like they belong. One moment from the event that stuck out with me, a young man walked up to the microphone to bravely ask a question of a panel of experts, and the back of their sweatshirt said, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it. Sincerely, the person in front of you." That nearly brought me to tears because in a room focused on crisis, fear, and struggle, here was a young person reminding everyone around him to keep going. As the board member closest in age to many of our students, it feels strange saying this, but honestly, our kids are going to be all right. Another topic discussed that night was that boys die by suicide at a significant higher rate than girls. The stigma around asking for help, talking to someone, or admitting you're struggling is still very real, especially for males. So I want to use my platform for a moment to say this clearly, that I am a 36-year-old man, a college graduate. I have a career I'm proud of, a wonderful wife, and 2 incredible kids, and I go to therapy. I consistently have gone to therapy for the last 5 or 6 years. My son, who deals with ADHD and anxiety as a second grader, also seeks professional help. And there's absolutely nothing shameful about that. Therapy and mental health support are not only for people in crisis, they're not only for people who are suicidal. Sometimes people simply need someone to talk to. Sometimes people need tools, perspective, or support. I used to think therapy wasn't for me and put it off for years, and I've realized that I was definitely wrong in that thought. Honestly, therapy helped me put me on a path toward becoming a better person, husband, and father. It also helped me give the confidence to step into a role like this one because I wanted the opportunity to have a bigger impact on the future of our kids across our community, not just my own. And if there's anyone listening tonight, whether here in person, everyone left, or online, hope you know it's okay to ask for help. And I hope every parent, guardian, family member, teacher, coach, and trusted adult in our community continues reminding the young people in their lives that it's okay to ask for help too. Finally, I do want to mention one more thing. Yesterday, during the workday, I'm sure a lot of you saw, there was another hate crime related shooting in our country, this time at an Islamic center in San Diego that also housed a K-8 school. I'm not bringing this up to debate politics or policy. I'm bringing this up because it's another reminder of just how fragile we can be as people and as communities. For young people to become so isolated, angry, hopeless, or consumed by hate that violence towards others or even towards themselves feel like the only answer is heartbreaking. To me, this all ties back to the same core issue: connection, belonging, mental health, and how we treat one another. Our district is incredibly diverse in many ways. We have Gig Harbor and the Key Peninsula. We have families with tremendous wealth and families facing real hardship. We have students from nearly every background imaginable. Because of that diversity, it can become very easy to separate ourselves into categories, assumptions, or divisions. That is exactly why creating a sense of belonging matters so much. So proud that this is something our district continues to emphasize and invest in. Our schools are actively working to create environments where students feel connected, supported, and valued, and I believe that work matters deeply. Every student deserves to feel like they belong here. Every student deserves to feel valued here, and every student deserves to know there are people in the community who care deeply about them. There's far more that unites us than divides us. We all have a role in creating that culture, not just the district, not just the teachers, not just the counselors, all of us. Our students are watching how we treat one another. Let's give them a community worth believing in. Thank you.
No, I have absolutely. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm good. Thank you.
Sorry, you should have clued me in. You were going to do that. I think that is a great note to end on. So thank you. So with that, I will just announce that our next regular scheduled board meeting will be here on June 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Swiftwater Elementary. And it will be the final night for our senior reps, and we look forward to seeing you all then. All right, at 9:35, we are adjourned.